Good evening, one and all. It's Sunday, it's the end of the week, and that of course means it's time for us to be jumping in to some more good old Warframe. Welcome on in, one and all. Hope you're doing well today. Welcome. And first of all, of course, straight away, we're start of the month, and Mirrorlab is here, immediately claiming that #1 spot on the leaderboard with 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much for that, Mirrorlab. Really do appreciate it. That going out to Relaxed Ray, to EV901, to Sigma Morda 77, to Macabre 0236, or Macabre 0326 if you're American, and to Wonderland Wanderer XIII, which I presume means 13 in this case. Cheers, Mirrorlab. Cheers indeed. Welcome on in, everyone. Hope you're doing well where you are around the world. Hello there, Vlad. Welcome on in. Hello there, Moon. Hello, Solomon. Welcome. Now, today I intend to keep things a little bit more chill, because we've had a lot of intense discussions and dives into mechanics and trying to make various weapons do this, that, and the other really cool thing, turning a shotgun with frost into an absolute nuke. We can scale that back a bit today. We can keep things a little bit more calm, is the idea. So, what I would like to do is, first of all, catch up on all the bits I've not done throughout the week, which kind of need to be done, otherwise the week's going to end. For example, a 60% shot at a Telforged Amber Archon shard kind of needs to be attended to, doesn't it? And it needs to be attended to. And I think I also have Nezha cells lying around. There's just bits and pieces all over the place, isn't there? There's just bits and pieces waiting to be attended to, so I really should do that. There we go. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Absolutely. We are in June. Because of all the deadly sins, Pride is the one that occupies this month. Someone's saying, for one's managed to deal with all that beforehand. Hey, well, there you are. There you go, absolutely. Welcome in, Derby. What's my preferred Orokin Cell farm? I just ended up with all of them that I needed by leveling a bunch of items over at Helene. Because if you level up items only through Sanctuary Onslaught, sure, you're more likely to end up with a chorus set when you're wanting to have one, but you're less likely to then have materials. Leveling up on Helene has been my recommendation for newer players because it's a great source of blasters of Orokin Cells. So I've never really needed them because of that. Yeah. Hey. That is how it be. That is also a decent enough source of Orokin Cells. If not Helene, at least just missions over on Saturn in general. So you can go ahead and slam through that. Make sure you've got a resource boost and resource drop chance booster. Help yourself out on that side. It's worth it if you can afford it. And just absolutely slam home the cell farm so you don't need to do it again. Or at least not anytime soon. Anyway, so let's get cracking on. Now, first things first, I think I actually need to reload into a relay. Very specifically, I think I need to hit this button here. I think this is the correct one. What's going to be more awesome? Magnetical Blast? Well, we don't know any of the details about Blast. So, Magnetic, with its clear damage bonus against Overguard, is still going to be a pretty spicy one. You also can't have a Blast Progenitor, which is why the Progenitor bit talks about Magnetic and not Blast. Let me just check if I missed... Yeah, I forgot to pick that up. Let's sort that now, shall we? I was running low on those. Now I'll have at least one more. I'm doing fine on those. I think that's thanks to Mirrorlab. You want to do Sargus Rook? I mean, yeah, you can go through Sargus Rook if you want to keep on slamming home the same assassination mission. You can absolutely do that. Wait, let's get that former building, because that is important. Where is it? Is it there? There we go. Number 21 in the oven. Splendid. Hello, Zom. How are you doing today? Alright, then. Let's go put a hole in Naira's face and rip a sparkly gem out of her neck. We've got a Sabotage, we got a Disruption, we've got a Showdown, and these are all very, very manageable things, aren't they? If you'd like to join me on that, send me a message in game, The Kengineer. I'll bring you on into the squad, and we will certainly go wreck some faces. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, yes, indeed. And we got a gun with a Hydrate. Cheers. Cheers, indeed. Here we go. We got Mirrorlab looking to join on in. Absolutely. Come into the squad. I'm thinking I'm just going to stick with the Galaxian today. Galaxian just kind of works. It's not the most powerful weapon in the game, but it doesn't need to be the most powerful weapon in the game. I have the most powerful Warframe in the game, so I'll be fine. So I'm saying, a YouTuber I watched did a speedrun charity event. Mountain, it took 8 hours to climb in their first run. Fastest time was 21 minutes. Okay. Failed to join session. Ah, let's try that again. Not sure what happened there. I do love when these things just break. There we go. There we go. Got you in squad now. Alright, Mirror Lab looks like it's you and me. Let's create this Kraken. No point hanging around for a full squad when the two of us can absolutely work it. You been enjoying the mini turret? It just works, no hoop jumping on death on demand. Just death on demand, yeah. There's no charging up of encounter modes, no form switching, no headshots or other shenanigans required. You just point at the enemy, preferably at the headshot, but it's not required, and then death occurs.
Tau trembles within you, just as it consumes
Brilliant.
me. Kill your pride and follow me, Nezha.
Now this is a sabotage. It should be a pretty quick one to do. Ah, okay. I was just about to do a nice lovely dash forwards and then encounter that. That's fine. I'm using a corrosive cold setup here. I haven't even switched the elemental modding, and it's still enough to just burn these ones down, or freeze them down, or melt them down. Get them down. Is good. Is very good. Well, that's not bad done. Hello, Travis. I'm doing right. Hope you're doing well yourself. Deputy say, I'll ironically feel like Lavos will be eating good after the update. Oh yeah. Lavos just wins when elements get buffed. And he's winning even harder since his ability to element got buffed, which is kind of wild. Like, I can now send out a toxin radius, which now means that all my attacks have guaranteed toxin procs, with a lot of elemental benefit behind them, so I'm going to have a whole lot of toxin power. Which, unsurprisingly, absolutely annihilates the corpus. It's still going to melt into the, or meld into the modding, because I have got corrosive modding, so I'm still going to have no toxin damage outright, but the toxin procs are still going to be a little bit painful. I can tank pretty much everything else that this lot want to throw at me. So for your personal opinion or taste, what's some good Kuru alternate weapons to farm magnetic right now? Anything with a good status alpha, pretty much. So something like the Kuva Heck, something like the Tenet Galaxian, something like the Nucor. Those are going to be the big ones. If it's not a high status weapon in the way that it's classically modded, then putting magnetic as a progenitor is going to be less useful, partly because what status you have will be going towards magnetic rather than what you try modding onto it, and partly because what little there is that is magnetic isn't going to proc anywhere near as often. So single shot, low status, or even mid status, maybe still focus on your damage type, rather than just throwing in magnetic for the fun of it. But the fact that it's going to get that buff against Overguard, and also be an even stronger Corpus Smasher, sure, why not? Why not? Dot damage doesn't matter when you can stack 200 plus procs. I mean, if those 200 procs are all 1 damage a time, that's not going to get anywhere. Now granted, Tenet Galaxian is not 1 damage at a time, but the point stands, amount of damage does matter. Fairly certain I clicked a mission. Hello. You? Weird game. Weird game. As I say, I worry about the gas visual changes. Imagine how many clouds Hellstrom Duplex makes now. That large cloud is scary. Yeah, if they can make the gas clouds visible but not blocking, that'd be great. But I don't know how they're going to go about that, to be honest. Graphics is not my forte, so I will leave that to the experts, and hopefully the experts come up with a nice answer. Pop, pop. 2, 1, done. Magnetic Fireball Memento. It certainly have more of a place. I don't know how much you'll want to build it over other things. That's where it comes into its element as a progenitor element. Because then it won't be instead of, but in addition to. Because choosing viral over magnetic is still going to be the right choice in a lot of cases. If you're dealing with the corpus, magnetic has more of a point there. But in a lot of other cases, viral is still going to be the winner. And likewise, if you're against the Grineer, you're still going to want to deal with their armor. Magnetic is only going to be beneficial there against the... wrong key. Against the Xmas units, and then you still need to deal with their armor some other way. Which, I get that D are reducing. I still need to run the numbers on that. It's been the weekend since the stream, so naturally I've not yet run the numbers. I haven't actually looked where the marker's coming from. It's over this side. Mirrorlave's got it. We're fine. I will just keep on shooting things until more shiny stuff pops out. Deep Archimedia might be an important place for the magnetic. Maybe, yeah. I suppose when literally everything is given overguard, magnetic to damage that overguard quicker certainly has some value to it. Yeah. Again, we'll see how that pans out. Especially as the question comes as to how much overguard does that really represent. It says 50% HP, but for a number of the enemies there, especially the cool Verins, the bigger part of their hit points is due to the armor stacking on their health. And again, that is changing. To what exact extent, we're not yet sure because D haven't said. And I do want to have a look at some of that actually today. I know I said we were taking a more chill, but then T gave us some stuff to think about, so I want to have a look, Lou, at that. Your name is just speeding off to all of these straight away. Let me give you a hand with that one. What are you running? Ivara? Fair enough. Yo!
Hello.
Hello as well to you there, Rockman. Thank you very much for resubscribing up onto 2 months now. You're that lovely bronze badge. I appreciate that once more, my dude. Let me grab my tea. Cheers. Cheers indeed. Thanks on through the roof? Yeah. Yeah. Polarize will remove a meaningful amount of armor? Potentially. Yeah. Cat could indeed be a solid benefit there. Oh, we already had Fracturing Crush though, right? I suppose that is Augment. Alright, we've got a key in. There's the blue key right here. There's the ping. How do I get stuck like this? That is embarrassing. There we are.
Offers freedom. Is that so terrible?
As I say, I think it says a lot that it still feels like a hard sell over saving a mod slot if you're not focused on raw damage.
Find freedom and surrender. As I did.
Hard sell over saving a mod slot if you're not focused on raw damage. I'm not sure I fully add up there, Zon. Alright. Not sure I fully add up what you're putting down. Could just be the way you've worded that, but yeah. Neltorino, there we go. It's kind of weird that we're doing a mostly Corpus mission, but we're getting a Grenade Demolisher right there. It's fine for me. We still kill him. Brought the right element for that, it seems.
Don't let them near the conduit.
One blip over there. 2 blips over there. Are they both over that side? That would be awfully convenient. They are. Realive's got the one to the right, so I'm going to grab this one. Ah. And we're done.
It's a little hot. Gloves are coming off. Got another round in ya?
We will examine this hall in detail. We will learn armor secrets.
Examine your
Azul's getting angry. So GGR 3 Kluger 2400K. That sounds more like the components of a motherboard, but sure. Mr. President, Ms. Kengineer, what is your current opinion on the state of Warframe? Warframe is in one of the best spots it's ever been in. Yeah. It's doing amazing. I will say I'm a little shaky on the Murmur faction in terms of the fact that they've got no weak points on some of their enemies, which is not great, and others, the weak points vanish during killing them. But overall, it's in a very good spot. Absolutely. As I'll say, from traditionally say, taking Toxin, you don't need Tox mode, Ot make viral. Retranslating. From traditionally say as a progenitor element, having Toxin as a progenitor, so you don't need a Toxin mod to make viral. Alright. Alright, so Zom. I understand that Zom has interesting technology, and part of that technology is the inability to type out the sentences sometimes. It happens quite frequently with Zom. We mildly mock them for it, but still try to understand. Just slightly. And yeah, you are right on that in that you can just go for a toxin weapon, which means then you have a toxin weapon. You could one mod it into viral, you can one mod it into corrosive, hell you can one mod it into gas, because apparently gas is an extremely powerful element. Not sure on that one, DE, but that's what they tell us. Gas is an extremely powerful element. Yeah. Let's get a prediction running. Will I get a Talforge shard? Let's give y'all just 2 minutes on this prediction. Boop. There we are. Yeah, I don't think gas is really as powerful as suggested. D claims it's powerful, but I don't think it is. Gas can be good with the right setup. Sure! And the Stug can kill anything with the right setup. The thing is that the right setup is doing some exceptionally heavy lifting. It's not about can this work given a setup, it's how does this compare to other options that don't require a quote-unquote right setup. What's my pity towel forge at? 60%. I have better than half odds. So yeah, we can, in fact, after this mission, I'm tempted to just head on down to Simulacrum and just kind of double check exactly what numbers we're getting with gas to re-verify both my position on it and D's supposed position on it. I want to have a further look at that, as well as the HP effects that we can expect from what changes they've suggested so far, and therefore what further additions may be necessary and how that impacts the game. There's a lot of moving pieces in what they've done. Oh, that's gas. You know what? Gas is really powerful. Let's use it. Wah! So powerful. Alright, let's switch to radiation now. I mean, not having stacks on the weapon is probably not a smart shout. Now I think about it. Are there any normal enemies around here I can kill? No? Alright. Sure. Give normal enemy. Hi there, you. Perish. Thank you. There we are. Just a single kill is enough to make it do something. Alright. Damn stacks. How to get pity on Talforge? The Talforge percent increases every time you didn't get one from an Archon hunt. So if you have 20% against Naira, you get not Talforge. Next time you face Naira, it'll be 40%. Then 60, then 80, then 100. Obviously at that point you have to get a Talforge, and once you get a Talforge, it drops back down to 20 for the next one.
Azul has barred the way to
You find it hard to aim when there's a million numbers on screen? That is changing.
Should allow you to deceive
Now the damage numbers will shoot away from your target and surround them in a donut shape, which means that you'll still be able to actually see what you're aiming at. But yeah, that change is coming. No doubt influenced by many people, myself included, pointing out just how ridiculous it is that you can't actually see what's going on and can't aim for headshots with damage numbers turned on. So that is getting adjusted. I know people suggest, oh, but you can make them smaller. It still stays in the way. Oh, but you can make them translucent. Great, now I can barely see the numbers and my target. Because it's all just blurring together. The true solution is just moving them out of the way. It really is.
devoured her brothers. I will not stand idly aside while she and Pazul devour mine.
With the donut
Be
one,
my sword
from what
down.
they've shown on the dev stream,
Strike.
that should be an improvement for us. 50 kills, charge some stuff up. Hi then, Ira. Oh, she's immediately gone invulnerable. We love it when bosses do that. They're like, oh yeah, you can fight me. Haha, just kidding. Go fight someone else. But it's fine. We'll just quickly kill the someone else. It's not really many of them. And then we're back to Naira. I heard something die next to me. I think that was part of the chain. And she's down. There we are. Would be if we could just have an area in our UI which shows the damage numbers. If the numbers collected together, so if you hit the same enemy, it adds up, sure. Otherwise, as they currently are, rapid fire weapons would just constantly be updating the numbers on that UI, which shouldn't be very helpful. Oh, wow, 60% and it's still not that one. I mean, fair enough, it was close to 60-40. Could have gone either way. Which means that the 40,000 gamma by Solomir has just been lost. And Ductile Wheel 465 with the 10,000 on Nope is going to get back nearly 70,000. Well, that is a win right there. Absolutely. There we go. No Talforge indeed. Decorator went all in. Oh dear. Well, that was a decision you made, and Ductile is very happy for it. Ductile is very, very happy for it. Gorilla's done well, Aega's done well. Yep, there's 11 winners and 11 losers on this one, but the losers really are funding the winners on this. Oh dearie dearie. Alright, Birole, thank you very much for joining in on that mission there, or that series of missions. We're going to do a little bit of testing now, so I'm going to drop you out of squad. Oh, you dropped for me, that's perfect, that's fine. Let's grab some suitable testing gear. And for that, I think a relatively unused weapon. Excuse me, don't know where that one came from. Right, let's grab the Lex. Thanks, Happy Dude. Let's grab the Lex, and because I don't really use the Lex, we can just break all of this down, get that to a normal Hornet Strike rather than an unranked or partially ranked one. Just to give us some basic stats to work with, nothing too crazy, so we can verify everything. Yum, I'm going to let that one slide on context, but this is an English-only channel. Can you please not do that? I'm going to hit the Google Translate on this one.
Would cry out in thanks.
It translates as cheers according to Google. Also, apparently your name translates as to... hang on, wait. What did that translate to? It's translating your name to Fruit Shun. Okay. Not sure why the shun isn't being translated, but... Alright. Thanks, Google. Guru saying, by the way, I heard an interesting idea from a friend, turning Limbo from a troll into a useful frame for Netra cells. Hear me out, base range with silence, and he turns off Eximus, stops enemies from dying outside the Netra cell circle. I mean, sure, why not? You say, and he prevents enemies from dying outside the Netra cell circle. What's really going to happen is people are going to go, ew, lumber bubble. Yeah, they'll just say Lumbo instead of Limbo. And then they'll leave the bubble and then kill the enemies. Rather than realizing, oh wait, this barrier is supposed to tell me where to stop. Also, the Limbo bubble closes over time. So, there's a few issues on that. It's a nice idea. It's not going to fix the game mode so much as just be an option, which works best when you're with people who already know to kill in the zone. The Muppets you find in some public missions will still be Muppets. There is no fixing that. Okay, so let's grab ourselves a couple testing Eximus, because testing Eximus are great. And there is a very, very, very simple test we've got here. I'm going to apply gas. This is going to put the Valence Fusion on this. I hit it near, and we see 1999 to both of them. 1999. That was unintended, but there we go. I've just found the legendary Warframe 1999. It turns out it is a Valence Formation Lavos with a Hornet Strike only Lex. There we go. Right. That. Sure, why not? Oh, but you have to crit. Otherwise you get much lower numbers. That is fine. Okay, so... Now let's actually look at the numbers I'm getting. So 1274 gives a 626. Is he out of range now? Wow. And sure enough, 1274 going down to 626. That's just basically half the damage, which makes perfect sense. Because we got just base damage and then elemental gas, and because it's elemental gas rather than combined gas, we actually get the benefits of gas proc as well. So that is making sense. So far, so good. Everything as expected. There I landed 2 gas procs, hence it's doing 1250. Which also makes perfect sense. That works fine. Looking good. Hello, Heatseeker. I'm doing alright today. Hope you're doing well yourself. What's my thoughts on Jade, the new game mode, and the status rework? Okay. You might as well have just asked me to give you all of my videos for the next few weeks after release of Jade Up Shadows. So, fair enough, nice try. What's my thoughts on Jade? She's not in the game yet. What's my thoughts on new game mode? Not in the game yet. And the status rework. It's not in the game yet, and D haven't given us full details on it. So I appreciate the attempt, and I get that you are enthusiastic. However, I actually don't have access to the information you want an opinion on. As for the partial information we've been given, Jade looks interesting. The new game mode could be cool, but it all depends on the rewards. If the rewards are shit, then no one's going to go back to it. That is the truth of Warframe. It's a looter shooter. Gotta remember to loot. And status rework, we shall see. We shall see. You're saying, tried my first, excuse me, the Archimedia, the Muppets from Public Matchmaking kept bringing frost and freezing enemies outside the live support range. Oof. Yeah, that is an oof right there. Well then. Gruzmoik, thank you very much for subscribing with your Prime. Welcome to the channel proper. You'll no longer have to deal with the ads on this channel, although you might still have the ad that is playing right now as you subbed. All the same, cheers my dude. Cheers indeed. As I'm saying, I just hope that Jade's numbers are going to be placeholders. They probably are. Don't worry about it. Literally, just don't worry about it. When it comes to the minutiae of numbers, unless D says these are the numbers, they're not the numbers until they get in game. Even if 90% of the time those are the numbers that get to the game, they're not going to get to the game until they're in. Just wait. You'll be better off. Right, let's put on a Prime mod. Now, Warframe themselves, DE, pointed out the gas procs are amazingly strong because of these mods. So let's demonstrate exactly how good it is. We have seen that one gas proc, I was just gonna forever be in the squad chat, it's fine. We have seen that one gas proc does half of the hit per second to each of these against our overguard. It doesn't bypass armor, it doesn't really have any bonuses here or there, but it exists and it does that. Don't worry about Mirror Lab, it's my phone. It's nothing. So, with this enhancement, what do we get? It lied to me about there being gas infused. I mean, what do we get? 1975 is now doing 1501. Okay. 1975 times 0.5 times 1.55. Would be 1530. We're actually getting 1501. Interesting. That's interesting. I was expecting a little bit more damage, but you know what? Quantization is probably coming in there. Quantization is probably coming in there. But the point is that, yep, we are indeed getting about the faction bonus again. About it. And that 1975 has gone up from previously 1274. 1975 or 1274, which was, yep, a 55% increase as well. So, yeah, it applies the faction buff a second time, just like every other damaging status effect in the game. And that's it. And it is damaging at that distance, which is cool. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of distance on it. Much like electric. And it's still gas damage. And gas damage which still doesn't take the bonuses from elemental mods. So unless you're Lavos, the gas proc on an enemy is going to be weaker than the electric proc. And that leaves then the only remaining bonus to gas is that it lingers. Gas is supposed to get more range? True, there is also that. It gets a little bit more range. So, yeah. Is gas going to be good when you group large numbers together? What do you mean going to be? The only time gas has a benefit is when you actually group up the enemies. And yeah, let's try on the headshot. If I go, bam, headshot, 37k. Now doing a proc of 28k. Also didn't reach this guy. How unfortunate. And then we ran out of overguard. Now it's doing 151. We'll come to that topic in just a moment. You are absolutely right. We can headshot to get a strong ass proc. Let's do another headshot. There we are, 2 procs. And with 2 procs, we just about reach this guy. 1 proc doesn't reach, 2 procs do. But, aside from, yeah, headshots mean more damage, and so the proc itself is doing more damage. So what? Yeah, that's just, if you land more damage initially, you get more damage out of the proc. It is entirely linear. It's entirely based on landing that initial headshot. What else is going on there? Range on gas ain't great? None at all, no. Right, if I spawn in over a couple enemies, you see how many I can actually hit. Let's get some gas procs on them. Alright, there's 7 gas procs. Let's get some more going. 9, 10? 10? Still not hitting that guy. Just gets that far. As I was saying, you need a headshot multi-modded onto the weapon like Deadhead. Then it should double dip headshot multiplier, doing some amount of the proc damage. Okay. I see exactly what you're saying now. Alright. So let's give that a try. Sod it. Just slap it on there. Don't care. Really? Heard some logic from a friend. He asked why gas is affected by armor if it's basically an airborne toxin. How does armor help with that? Yeah, let's not go down that road, Gorilla. If you want logic in this game, the entirety of Warframe will vanish. So let's just not do that. Alright, Heatika, you take care then. Thanks for dropping by. Have a good one. Okay, so. That guy's already lost Overguard. I need new ones. There we are. Okay, with a headshot bonus. Habam! 7701, 7604. 7701. Times 0.5 times 1.55 times 1.3. I'm expecting 7758 if it was applying the full bonus again, but we did see there is some quantization weirdness going on already. I ran out. 7701 to 7604. We're getting 98% of what I'd expect. But yeah, it is showing that there is a headshot bonus being applied a second time over. So I do see that there. There is that headshot double dip, which is kind of weird when one thinks about it. A headshot multiplier double dipping. And is that just a gasting? For the reference, heat. 5849, definitely lower. Electric. Wait for the heat one to run out. There's gas and electric, yeah. That just confirms that. Okay. It just doesn't feel to me like gas is really that amazing. Now, part of this is going to change potentially with the armor changes. And with health type changes, but predominantly with armor changes. The health type changes could help as well. Look at the fact that Clone Flesh has a minus 50% to gas. Minus 50%. Like, that is insane. That is a genuinely insane negative to try and make gas work against Grineer. The reason we didn't see any negative in that test is because it was hitting Overguard, which is typeless. But yeah, all of these, every single Grineer is minus 50% on the gas. Wonderful. And yeah, I know these vulnerabilities are going to change. This is part of it, W. That's why I'm making a point of it, is that we're seeing a large series of changes coming in. Versus the Corpus, we see that on the robotic ones, there is no benefit or negative to gas. Gas just exists, but it also has to cleave through the shields. Against the fleshy ones, gas has a negative. Not sure why the gas has a negative on these guys as well, but it does. Which is where part of gas's weakness comes in, is that the gas approach has no benefit against fossilized either, so it doesn't affect the big infested. It is instead the small infested. We get a 75% damage bonus against things like chargers. Just that. And juggernauts. Yeah. That's not exactly what I call amazing. The weaker infested are the one set of units currently weak to gas, and everything else either ignores it or is strong against it. This is part of why gas sucks. Gas has a cap on the number of procs, so if you have a status-focused weapon, it's better to go something else. Gas has a poor damage type. Gas does not get the benefit of elemental mods, unless you're using Larva's Valence Formation, because that is the only source of gas elemental rather than gas combined. Can a Juggernaut get saves proc? I believe it can, yes. Yeah. Email saying just use a Sarin with Nourisher for a 4, one orb into dual light core, gas, electrical, melee influence, quadruple toxin, total annihilation. Okay, thank you for sharing your fetish for Sarin. That wasn't the question. There wasn't actually a question even remotely close to that, but sure. It is very possible for people to want to play any of the other 50-odd Warframes than just Sarin. But we were talking about gas. And I know that Sarin gas is a thing, but that is a tenuous connection at best. Luke said, okay, the engineer. Did you like the Ember Heirloom skin? The skin looks nice. Dee's way of showing off the skin, less nice. But yeah. And the changes to the program. I'll be honest, I didn't really pay much attention to the heirlooms originally when they came out. I know, weird. Content creator doesn't pay attention to something released by a company. That's a big deal. But that's because when it comes to cosmetics, I just kind of blank out in general. Hey, here's this $70 paid cosmetic. Cool, thanks, not interested. And that's the end of my interest normally. I am surprised that they're becoming not just permanently available for Platinum. And I am learning just how much Platinum I have, considering... I have 23 personal Platinum, okay. Considering that it's going for 475, I'm like, oh, that's an heirloom pack and I have 7k plat. Sure, alright, I've picked up a little bit of Platinum, it seems. I picked up a bit of plat. W say, hot take, I'm not too happy about the health types being merged into just a few ones. I feel it takes away some of the depth like about the damage system. W, it's not being merged into just a few ones, no. Instead, all health types are gone. There'll be regional types. So we'll have the Grineer, the Corpus, the Infested, plus 3 regional types currently set to be the Kuva, the Deimos, and then I think there was a Corpus one I missed. What was what I forget the name of? But basically they're having 3 major variations and 3 sub-variations. No, I didn't miss Corrupted because I'm talking about a sub-variation of the Corpus. Was it Railjet Corpus specifically? Granum Corpus? Okay. But yeah, so those are the major groups. And then separately, interestingly, it wasn't noted in the devlog I saw, or I may have glanced over it. But there is also a couple of other factions out there. Namely, we have the Corrupted, we have, what's it? Stalker and Acolytes, we have the Murmur. These are other elements which are not exactly... They're not part of the core factions, but they're still factions to be considered. Certainly along the line up here, and Sentience. Who can forget Sentience? Me, apparently. And Nama, which are apparently not sentient. But yeah, D still haven't released full details on that. I expect those details are only going to come with the update, so we're going to have to file that one as another under... We don't know. Let's wait and see, then discuss. I know it might seem a bit weird with the amount of discussion we had on Friday following the dev stream, looking at Dev Workshop, but all of that discussion was focused on what D was showing and the implications that we can infer from what they were showing. But yeah. Overall, I do say it is a positive. The biggest positive is putting the information front and center and reducing the needless complexity. Because like you look at this one here, we have plus impact, plus cold, plus magnetic, minus puncture, minus radiation, plus puncture, plus cold, plus radiation, minus slash, minus electric, minus magnetic, plus puncture, plus electric, plus radiation, minus slash, minus toxin. So, looking at this as a new player, which one should you use? And then figure out how you use it and the benefits thereof. Don't forget that impact is a status effect, and cold is a status effect, and magnetic does, and all the other types have status effects which impact your decision making. Which is the right setup to use? From a new player perspective, they're not even going to know the slash viral bit because they're new players. They don't know that meta. They're new. A new player looks at that and goes, what the fuck? So I'm fine on that being changed. Where you can find the info on the element changes? On the forums. I don't have the link to hand, sorry. But it's over on the forums, the dev workshops. If you Google Warframe dev workshop, you should be able to bring it up. So yeah, simplifying that, brilliant change. That's just a positive. Because let's face it, between the factions, you weren't hyper-focusing these details. You were, as a established player, you were mostly looking at, okay, which one kills them quickest? What can I do to just kill them quickest? And more often than not, you go, well, the corpus just die, and the Grineer, and the infested just die. So what I need is something against the Grineer. Slash viral. Keep viral. Corrosive cold. Corrosive heat. It's pretty much about the main options. Radiation has its places, but not a huge amount. Blast gets laughed at. Gas is used when you can supergroup enemies, and otherwise gets laughed at. Is gas good against Murmur? Good question. The answer is they forgot about gas here too. Or rather, didn't include gas here too. I should be fair on that. They didn't necessarily forget, they just went, a different facade, Murmur, let's give it radiation. Yeah, that's a great one. Minus viral, because that's how it works. It's not. And then these ones, we've got plus ferrite armor, so good old standard, plus the corrosive, and then machinery, plus blast. So if you armor strip the Culverins and the Arcanids, then you are supposed to use blast. No one's doing that, DE. At least no one has been doing that. Especially as if they're not armor stripped, it's actually a negative to blast. But yeah, the Murmur is just puncture, electric, all the radiation, and probably mostly down to it being, hey, we need to have a reason to have our radiation frame be the one that was defending this area. So radiation it is. Yeah. Yeah, good point, Moon, yeah. Void is just it's existing in its own space, yeah. Yeah. Debbie said, to be fair, I was going off the original workshop and made it sound much more dumbed down. They did explain there were going to be sub-factions in the original workshop. If anything, the follow-up details showing that they're only having 3 sub-factions on release is more the surprise to me. I would have expected to have sub-factions be planet-based, and then you could have, say, one major element for each faction, one major element for each sub-faction, and then maybe a resistant element for higher tier sub-factions. But hey, it is what it is. They're making their decisions on that, and we'll just see how that all comes together. Now, let's consider where this meta is most likely going to put us. Most likely, D are not going to give a gas benefit against anything but the infested. Most likely. I'm not saying it's a certainty, but most likely. Because that's where they put it normally. They are likely to remove the gas penalty against Grineer. Again, I only say that is likely. It is possible they still keep the gas penalty, but I wouldn't be betting on that, given the simplifications they have advertised. Which would mean that gas would, in effect, deal twice damage to Grineer than it currently does, which is a benefit. That is just straight up a benefit. However, there is still going to be the matter of armor. Armor is going to be kept at... They threw out the number 2700, but I noticed it was missing from the dev blog, which means that is far from locked in. I mean, even if it was in the dev blog, it would be far from locked in, but it would be a lot closer. So, I don't think I'll speed operate that magnetic bit is only against a corpus. Anyway. The armor is going to be changing down to... They suggested a cap of 2700. Now, I want to just quickly go over what that cap actually means. Let's start with the most ridiculous of enemies for armor. The Butcher. Butchers, we all know, have basically no armor. absolutely none. And sure enough, on Steel Path level 100, they have 169 armor. So the Butchers, we're not going to see a change. With a cap like that implemented, no change. Even if you take them to level 1000, they still end up with only 902 armor. So Butchers are not going to see a difference on that basis. Butchers are not going to change there. So I wonder if Butchers are getting more armor or losing all their armor. I'm not aware of any changes outside of this, so I'm not aware of them just removing their armor. My understanding was a cap being implemented. But that's Butchers. How about more, typical entities? Let's say a Trooper. I'm trying to stick to the lower end first. Let's go with a Trooper. So Troopers at level 100 off the Steel Path have 2033 ferrite armor, which means on Steel Path they'll already hit the cap. Steel Path increases that to 2.5 times the value. That's well over 2700. They'll be at cap straight away. And interestingly, their Steel Path effective hit points at level 101. Their Steel Path effective hit points is currently 587,000. That's what we're getting from the wiki. In fact, let me just bring it over. As I'm saying, they said low base armor enemies have changed it so armor is always impactful, basically. I do remember a note on that, but very little detail around it. So yeah, we'll have to have a look at that. Let me just switch up the screen so you can see exactly what I'm looking at here. One momentinos. Alright, here we are. So, Butcher, right hand side. Let's zoom that in a bit. Might have been too much zoom. But here we can see the scaling as it exists. Level 101, Steel Path. The Steel Path modifier increases their effective hit points from 101,000 to 586,000. But if we cap the ferrite armor at 2700, we can see the clone flesh up here is basically 13,000. It is a fraction of hit point on 13,000, so that's a really easy number to work with. If we're capped at 2700 armor and 90% damage reduction, that means they'll have effective 130,000 hit points, which is only, it's not even 30% higher than non-Steel Path. Not even 30% higher. And the further point on that is that if DE, even if DE changed the health scaling past level 70, that's not going to change the ratio between normal and Steel Path for an enemy like a Trooper. And that is a pretty significant reduction. Like a seriously significant reduction in overall effective hit points. To go from 587,000 to 130,000, that's coming down to 22% of its effective health. Do we know if the Steel Path modifier is before or after the cap? Fair point, D didn't say. I would have expected that the Steel Path modifier would be before the cap, but that's a fair point, D didn't actually say. At what point then do we hit the cap? We hit it at level 150. So at level 150, the cap would be hit without a Steel Path modifier on a Trooper. We don't have a counter for A yet because that counter would be about 5 million. It's not worth it. Alright, let's take this to Elite Lancer. The mainstay of the Grineer army. These guys you kill in droves. There are so many of them that they actually make alloy armor half of an entire mission, despite the fact that alloy armor only represents like 6 Grineer in a standard mission. There are so many Elite Lancers that they push it up in the majority of cases. And if we take these guys to level 101, the very level 115, the start of when they appear in Steel Path, I think they actually appear at level 101, it's just the calculator's not covering it. So let's go to level 115, it's not exactly that far in. At this point here, level 115, they've already hit 2,729 armor. So they're already at the armor cap without the Steel Path bonus that D threw out offhandedly on stream. Again, whether or not they chose that number, we don't know so far. If the Steel Path modifier happens before the cap and therefore gets brought back down again, this means that they would, from level 115 upwards, be stuck at the armor value of a non-Steel Path level 115 Elite Lancer. Which is a low value, realistically. A low value. In fact, to further compare this, let's take Elite Lancer and let's compare this to... ooh, I don't know. An Elite Crewman. Let's go Elite Crewman. Level 116. We'll go one further. No, we won't. No, we can just compare here right now. So, Elite Lancer has 16,000 hit points, and Elite Crewman has about 16,000 hit points. So it is entirely in the fact that Grineer have armor that they have a benefit over them. And they're still going to have that 90% reduction, so they're still going to have 10 times the effective health of a Elite Crewman, which is, I think, a very fair comparison of unit. Considering just how many of them are around. So that 90% armor, it's still doing a lot of work. So Steel Path not have giant difficulty spike as it is today. As much of one? If this runs as it's seeming, and again, we have so little detail I can't really say, but if this is how it works, and if all these Elite Lancers basically just get hard capped on their armor at 90%, rather than going to this insane 964,000 EHP. Sure. I didn't take into account the 2.5 times multiplier on the flash as well earlier. So it's not 30% more, it'll be 225% more. My bad. I did skip that detail. The health also goes up 2.5-fold. So currently an Elite Lancer, from where it is to where it goes, Steel Path EHP, they go... they become 5.9 times tankier. That's what they currently do. In the update, they will become 2.5 times tankier. Yeah. Which is not a huge difference, but the difference will scale further up the levels. In terms of difference from today versus tomorrow, the best variable tomorrow. If you get to level 200, currently the scaling there, we can see nearly 2 million effective hit points on Steel Path versus 332k off Steel Path. That's about a 6-fold increase. Post-update, it'll again just be a 2.5 times. And even then, I mean, I'll be quite honest with you, this damage reduction, it's a lot to work through, but you see our damage values. We kind of blitz through them, and we have so many armor reduction options. So I'm just not sure where this all ends up. It's hard for me to place, I'll be quite honest, because we look at a lot of theoretical numbers, and at the end of the day, I recommend setups and builds which kind of walk over Steel Path. Naturally, newer players and mid-game players struggle their way through. There are newer players that hit the wall at Saturn, there are mid-game players that hit the wall at Steel Path, and so on. It's hard to really say. Officer Vampy, I feel like as if the challenge is gone from the game with the change, it's just going to become a true mindless mob grinder. It already is, bro. Just putting that out there. Like, the challenge as it currently stands in the game is predominantly here is this thing to protect because it has no survival instinct, and here is a random loadout, good luck. I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, 90% of the challenge is the preparation. Yes, Armor, yeah. This is a grind-based... grind-focused, gear-based looter-shooter Once you've done the grind and you've got the gear, it's the blappening. I have gone through the... I think it was Senna I went to. Didn't I take a unmodded Vault, unmodded melee weapon and go through a Senna Exterminate without an issue? Fairly certain I did that. Fairly certain I did that, yeah. Not unmodded? Oh, I think I had like 2 polarity of modding, didn't I? Sorry, 2 drain of modding. It was still soddle. It was still absolutely soddle, which means that the entire star chart you could basically just cut your way through with a basic melee that gets handed to you because you finished a quest. That's pretty much it. The challenge really comes down to not being an idiot, which a lot of people have to learn. Learning how to move through a mission, and then learning, oh yes, sometimes I actually do need to shoot at weak spots, which this game is very, very bad at communicating in terms of boss fights. Yeah, I find myself all over the place. Does Gauss Freeze give crits? Gauss Freeze freezes enemies. Frozen enemies have a load of cold procs on them. That's specifically how it's going to work after the update. Cold procs give a crit damage bonus. Otherwise, it does what the ability says. You'll notice no mention of criticals in there. So obviously a key point is making partial strips better, which you need to wait and see. It is very much so. Make it less necessary, especially as you scale up. The only answer is to remove or ignore armor. There's a problem. Let's see. When the only answer is to remove or ignore armor, I don't know if that really is a problem in and of itself, given how we use corrosive setups. Abilities can crit? Only some can crit. They'll specify if they can crit. They'll specify on the wiki if they can crit, because the game doesn't tell you half the time. Here's the thing with armor as a thing, as a concept in the game. It's supposed to be something you defeat. It's supposed to be the Grineer threat. The Corpus have nullifiers. That is their biggest threat. They've expanded on that as well by having shield restoration drones to try and keep their hit points up, by having shield gates, by having the scrambers to screw you up, by having the near immortal fronts on things like bursars to try and screw you up. Corpus have a variety of technical tools to make your life difficult and to improve their survivability there. Then we just kind of hit them all with Toxin, but that's a separate issue. When it comes to the Infested, they swarm you, lots of bodies rather than a few big ones. They have the Ancients, which have some really powerful auras, like 90% ability damage reduction, general damage reduction, energy drain as a distributed horrifying thing, especially at higher levels. The toxin clouds that they can just spread across the place, the corrosive they could deploy, those patchy zones, which would be more threatening if the Infested were more threatening themselves. So the Infested bring that swarm, the toxin, and the energy drain. The Grineer have armor. That's what the Grineer have. That is their entire threat. It is part of the reason that they're so nice to farm, is because their only threat is they are beefy. And so all of these we have are ways of dealing with them. The Corpus, we can shut down their shields if we feel that they're much of a problem, or we can just bypass them when using Toxin. We have to stay out of the way of the nullifiers and handle those, shooting the drone or shooting the shield, or just not using abilities for a moment. We have to find ways to counter them. With the Infested, making sure that 1, you don't get Toxin procced, 2, you don't get slapped by a Disruptor, and 3, you look out for the things which are surviving anomalously because a Disruptor is present. That's mainly your core focus against them. This becomes a little bit more nuanced once you get onto the Deimos open world, because you have even more interesting Infested enemies there, including ones with... we're back to armor. So that's pretty much the process. So armor being something you have to challenge, I don't see as an issue in and of itself. I do see it as not an issue in itself. As I was saying, not like 90% DR is small either. Yeah, 90% damage reduction is still a decent amount. Absolutely. And as I've just showed here, like, for majority units, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Let's have a look at the heavy gunner. Because that is going to be more of a big deal. Because heavy gunners are, well, what do you know? Heavy. Very confusing topic to join in on. Well, that's where you get to joining late to a stream, /Dan. Welcome in. Let's take a level 150. Let's go simple star chart steel path kind of approach. So, currently, this would put them at a ferrite armor of 8,727. So that getting capped down to 2,700, that is a huge change in their damage reduction. Queen wanting us to switch up the music? Yeah, let's do that. There we are. Stop with the bloody menus. Anyway, if I want the menus, I'll click them. So a heavy gunner would be going from currently off steel path at level 150, 1.1 million effective hit points to 10 times this, which would be 390,000. That is a huge reduction. And then again, if the ferrite armor doesn't, if the armor value doesn't increase onto steel path, if that same 2,700 cap still sits there, which is very possible, we don't know though. If that sits there, then their steel path effective hit points will come down from 7 million to, let's see here, 38, 670, times 2.5, times 10. It'll come down to just under 1 million. So it'll make them 7 times weaker as well there, without any armor stripping. That is a lot lower. That is a heck of a lot lower. To look at that another way, 8727 times 2.5. So the current armor value on steel path for this unit would be 21,817. Which means that the new armor, again, if the steel path modifier isn't present, if the steel path modifier doesn't allow them to breach the 2700 cap, the new armor would be 88% reduced. That is more than 11 corrosive procs. That's the change that seems to be on the table, is that this enemy would effectively be under the impact of 11 corrosive procs to get started. That's big! And that's level 150, that just increases as the levels go up. You go level 200. Now it's ferrite armor with steel path modifier. Would be 27,040. So it would have less than 10% of modern day armor if the update went in that way. Toxic Mothman saying, this is why I suck at Warframe weapon building, too much math. I mean, you don't have to do the math on it, you can just put the mods together and see what works. Or just kind of get an idea as to how to stack bonuses together. We'll look at the optimizations. You don't need to optimize this game because you can just slam your head into it and it works. That's fine. So yeah, this is it's interesting, and we are missing some of the most crucial details to really consider it all together. But this is substantial. Now, Heat Viral is probably going to get stronger with this update. Which is kind of wild to say. Heat Viral's probably going to get stronger. If D are aiming for partial strip to matter more, Heat is a partial stripping element, so it's going to matter more. Enemy hit points is not going to be significantly increased, so the amount of hit points it's got to cut through isn't going to be that much higher. And there's the fact there's going to be lower starting armor value for these heavier units. Heat Viral's just going to be better than it was before, which is kind of wild. And then there's the matter of direct damage already existing as a way to kill stuff. Aaron, cheers for the Prime. Welcome into the channel proper and enjoy your lovely blue sub badge to go over all the bits and pieces there. Cheers. Oh. Planet Tune say, and what about Xmas units? They have more HP, right? How much will they get nerfed with the new armor changes? It comes down to how the armor is actually handled on them. And unfortunately, that is a big ol' we don't know. Again, I'm referring to the 2700 cap, which was thrown out by Pablo on stream, but it's not part of the workshop, so we don't have the details there. There is no answer on if Seal Path Modifier would affect that, so we don't have an answer there. And this then is a third level of we don't know, in that we don't know if the Xmas modifier would also still be in effect. So, we don't know! We really don't know the answer to that one, sorry. There's a lot that we're missing. Yo! Alright, where's this guy coming from?
Kingy Halo.
Langdus, thank you very much for subscribing with your Prime. Welcome to the channel proper yourself as well there. And then Raven King 1347 also subscribing with a Prime, but this is a 5-month resub on top of that. All three of you, thank you very much on that. Oh. Cheers indeed. Zon, they weren't talking about Overguard. Just the actual extra hit points and tank that Xmas units have. Because Xmas are just stronger. Like if I go Does the wiki have exactly how much stronger they get? Xmas types. Leadless tables. Xmas scaling. All fundamental stats scaled by the above formula structure. The what? Oh, this is just from stuff. Uh-huh. Come on. Give me the significant difference between Xmas and non-Xmas. Here we go. For Xmas enemies, same curves are used for scaling with smooth step interpolation, but the base health is also increased between certain breakpoints. Dotted graph. Info missing. Where's the... Oh, it's cut off. Who made that? There we go. Right. Normal Xmas. Okay, so yeah, you can see Xmas health scaling is kind of a bit more. Kind of a bit more. When looking at, say, level 100 here, what we've got is a scaling versus base level of about 110 times. And then for the Xmas, it's about 440. So it's about 4 times more health for the Xmas. I don't know if this affects their armor. I don't see a note. Oh wait, armor might be further down. Armor. For armor... Yeah, Xmas do get more armor. Not much more though. But they do get more. Again at level 100, we go from a 13 multiplier to a 22 multiplier roughly. Yeah. And then shields, again, take a huge jump up. So raw hit points get a huge jump. Armor doesn't get as much of a jump. And because of the way that armor scaling currently works, that's even less significant. We'll have to see if that changes with the change to the enemy armor scaling equation, which is yet another layer of complexity in all this. Toxic Mothman saying, originally found you on YouTube, rather love your narration and the way you break stuff down. Makes it so much easier to understand. Keep up the amazing content. Well, thank you very much, my dude. You won't find quite the same ease of breakdown here on stream, because you're getting me live. I've not had the week to polish all of these details, which is why it takes me a week to make a video, to polish everything and make it so understandable. But all the same, welcome on in. Lord Nightmare saying, when enemy health and HP scaling requires knowing what smooth step function is, might be a little too complicated. I don't think you need to know what a smooth step function is to look at a graph and go, yes, I can see that at lower levels it's low, at higher levels it speeds up, but then it slows off again. Except Xmas are kind of fat. Like, you could just kind of derive the critical information by just looking at that graph right there. Ah yes, enemies scale up in power and then it slows down, but keeps going up. It is at level 75 that D implement a new fiscal policy and they curb inflation. Congratulations. Doesn't get it to 0, it just curbs it. That's basically what this graph shows. And if you can't understand that much of the graph, that's when you watch YouTubers who explain how to just build your weapons and shoot things, and you shoot things in the shoot things game. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I do think the difference between the university professor-like explanation of the videos versus the mad ramblings of the streams is very funny. Yeah, the videos are the lectures, and here are the workshops after hours, where you break out whichever drink of choice. There are no grades, and you just get to enjoy yourself, whilst maybe learning something. We're out of hours here. But yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to all this, and it's honestly really hard for me to conceptualize all these parts and bring them together into one thing, especially as we're missing so many of the details. There is the possibility that this setup of a heavy gun at level 200, where currently on Steel Path it would have 10 million effective hit points, might then come down to it having... What is that? Yeah, might come down to having just over 1 million. We don't know the exact details, so I can't say that for certainty, but with the numbers thrown out, there is a possibility of that change. And to put that in perspective, of 1 million effective hit points, potentially for this thing, if we go back to having the Elite Lancer... If we go back to having the Elite Lancer, thank you. An Elite Lancer currently at level 116 has about the same amount. Actually, get the number on my calculator. It would need to be... There. A level 129 Steel Path Elite Lancer, so we're not even into Sedna on Steel Path, would become the new level 200 Heavy Gunner. If that's the direction it goes, which is kind of wild. Port Film going slightly off topic, but just a thought, Gyrex and Gox is commonly held as the toughest enemy you can summon in Simulacrum that is not a status immune special unit. Would the Xmas scaling make corrupted heavy gunners actually tougher than them? Likely not, no. Reason being, if I get this to base level, you can see 300 flesh, 500 armor. And then we go to the Goxad officer. They have, at base, 1,000 flesh, 1,000 armor. That is an insane difference. Same level 8, same base unit model, but the clone flesh more than triples and the ferrite armor doubles. And the Xmas bonuses do not match that. They just don't. So yeah. Not even Exo? That is Exo. Because they all use the same base values. All the officers use the same base value. Jaya, Cosmo and Exo all use the same base 1,000. Which is why when you go to Railjack, an enemy level 50 there is not like an enemy level 50 in normal mode. And again, I don't know why we have to have levels where the level numbers mean nothing unless you have a calculator. This has always pissed me off. How strong is a level 50 unit? Does a level 50 unit have 27,000 health and 93.7 damage reduction? Or does a level 50 unit have 2,900 health and 70% damage reduction? Or does a level 70 unit, level 50 unit, calculator, where is it? Calculator, hello, calculator. Not loaded, try again. Or does a level 50 unit have just 3,000 effective hit points? I want you to compare these two level 50 units. These three. I can't even get this calculator to work for some reason. But just the base flesh before the damage reduction on this one is 27,000, and this one with all of its hit points is 3,000. And on the Elite Lancer, 9,000. So you see the same unit, or same level 50 pop up above a unit. How strong is it? You don't know. That has always frustrated me with this game. That the level tells you how much that unit has been scaled from its base numbers. It doesn't tell you how strong that unit is. Which to me just feels insane. Like, genuinely insane. You go to a level 120 here, EHP 173,000. EHP 17,000. EHP 5.7 million. Same level 120. You can imagine for someone who might want all the numbers. It's maddening for someone who just wants to play the game, as far as I'm concerned. Because the number of people that get to Railjack, they go, oh yeah, I've learned these levels now. It was really confusing when I started. You know, I was just playing good old Warframe. Here I was, loading in with my starter Warframe. I've got my Warframe up to level 2. I've got my weapon up to level 3. I don't know what levels are, but I know that these levels are level 2 and 3. And then I look at the missions. Okay, still new to Warframe. Yeah. Let's have a look. This says level 1 to 3. Okay, yeah, I'm in level 1 to 3. I guess this is a mission I can handle. Brilliant. This is fine. Get later on, level 1 to 6. Okay. I mean, that clearly suggests it's for new players, right? 1 to 6. Brilliant. I can still handle that. Over here, 3 to 5, so it says, okay, get to like level 3 first before starting this mission, otherwise you might struggle. I understand that. Except that is all wrong. You get to somewhere like here, it's going, well now it's saying level 12 to 14. 12 to 14? Oh, but my Warframe's level 10 and my sword is level 6. I don't think this is going to work. It does. You just walk over these enemies, it really does. So you think you get a handle on the level system, you get your way through, and you're like, okay, I'm starting to understand what these levels really mean now. And then you go to Railjack. What level are the enemies here? Grenier level 20 to 28. Oh, that's easy. Yeah, I know level 20 to 28. I've fought those. No, you haven't. Oh, these ones. The levels are meaningless unless you have a calculator, and that has always frustrated me. Thanks, Rilla. I don't actually use the Windows calculator. I have my own.
Holy guac, stock, and caw. I won't finish that. 31 months though. Phew boy.
Goodness
so
sake.
close to that 3-year mark.
Esprit, thank you very much for the 31-month resub there. We're at the point where saying 31 months is going to trigger people who've been trying to ask the age of their family's kids. How old's your young boy? Oh, he's 31 months. I didn't sign up for a math quiz. How old is he? You've gone to that point now. So, Esprit, thank you very much for the as yet undisclosed amount of toddler years worth of support. Appreciate it. Yeah. Cheers indeed. And I'm glad you didn't finish that message. But yeah, the level scaling in this game is just ridiculous. It is just wild. Like you say, fuck it, I'm 316 months old. Hey, measure your age in weeks, and then realise how quick a week goes. Just to break you a little bit. People use months above 12 kids. You should stop by 24 months. If you use more than 24 months for the age of a child, you really are just wasting everyone's time. Under 2 years, I can understand, because there are massive developmental differences that happen between 12 and 24 months. Massive, massive developmental differences. And anyone who has not had a kid cannot comprehend just how quickly those changes happen. Anyone who's either not had a kid or not had to help raise a kid through those ages. It's insane. Anyway, let's not be over specific on sharing everyone's ages now. Come on. Anyway, on the previous topics, we were on the whole, you know, armor scaling, what it was, what it's going to be, where that lands us. We are missing a lot of details. We don't know how the steel path modifier is going to work. We don't know how the Xmas modifier is going to work. We don't know how much extra health enemies are going to get post level 70. We don't know if that extra health is going to benefit only the armored enemies, or if that's also going to be applied to unarmored enemies. Is this going to be a stealth buff to the hit points of elite crewmen? Maybe. Probably. Possibly. The changes to the damage modifiers means that, for example, this viral bonus against flesh, that's likely to go away. Which means that viral will get worse against crewmen in the slightest of regards, and therefore against corpus in general, in the slightest of regards. Whereas gas is negative here against clone flesh, that's also likely to go away, so gas is going to be twice as good. And that's before even considering the capped armor, making gas even more good if you don't strip the armor. So there's going to be a lot of changes. It's really hard to kind of bring it all together. Just how much D is suggesting to change at once. They don't want to upset the top tier power ones. I get it. But a lot is going to change. A lot is going to change. Whatever you posted there, Mirrorlape, I'm fairly certain that is not weeks. fairly certain that is not weeks. And if it's what I think it is, we're closing in on your birthday. Alright. Sorry, so now if they also did some changes to enemy loot drops, good lord, guys. Now that's another topic in itself. That is another topic in itself. Ladybug, that however is a very easy question to answer. Why does someone have less weeks than you? Because they're younger than you. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, I've kind of lost my train of thought at this point, not gonna lie. I've kind of lost my train of thought. I think that we reached the end of that line, and I don't see where the other line was. I felt like there was another train, but that one's just gone. Yep, that one's just gone. Alright then. Fair enough. This happens. Alright. I'm gonna head on into Deimos here. Let's check, do I have some Netra cells to do? I think I do. Happens to chill. The sun came out in the UK. It's kind of a weird thing that temperatures went up. Wild, I know.
Our work goes on.
You're well over 1 billion seconds old. It's mildly mind-blowing. Yeah. Yeah. Big numbers go burr. Alright then. Tag fur, Netra cells. Yes, I have got 3 of them to do. You know what, let's do a solo one.
Let's crack that thing.
Let's do a solo. Why not? How bad can it be? True SB, yeah, you and I are both older than Google, aren't we? Alright, Blue's energy. Extra Xmas, don't care. Lose health every second. And lose health when moving. Oh, this is... Wow, okay. These ones were designed to be picked up by Lavos.
So, hit the terminal to exit into the labs.
Don't put the arm in the way. Don't put the arm in the way. I can't see when you put the arm in the way. Please. I just want to see. The way to nerf Lavos is just make it where you can't see shit. Oh dear. Press Y? I don't want to. But thank you for telling me how to play the game. I appreciate it. I mean, I have been on Warframe for a while, but it's always nice when someone comes in and just tells me what to do. Because then I can just stop being a streamer. We can have Twitch plays Warframe. Gotta love that. I can see that going well, because as soon as I hand that level of control over to you guys, step 1, head to dojo. Step 2, hand all of your platinum to the first person who trades. Yeah, I know what you guys would do. I know what you guys would do. You would rob me for everything I have the first moment you could. I ain't having no Twitch Plays Warframe here. That's Twitch Plays Ken. No. The trolls not robbers? Oh no, there are definitely robbers among us here. There are definitely robbers in this chat. Absolutely. I mean, look at that right there. Raymond King just said your players on mine, TY. Yeah, see, there we are, proof. Already proven. Delete everything from inventory except Uraeli? Which one? Do I get to keep the good Uraeli or the cursed one?
Papa left some bad things behind. That book's one of them.
Ray say, hey Ken, work on a project right now to calculate the area of total combined... I'm sorry, I'm going to have to properly read this one. Hey Ken, working on a project right now to calculate the area of a total combined area of overlapping circles at specific intervals. I'm thinking I might need to use Desmos for this, but I haven't a clue how to use the tool. Any advice? Desmos is that graphing thing, right? You're on a project to calculate the area of total combined area for overlapping circles at specific intervals. When you say specific intervals, because like you can calculate the area of a circle reasonably enough, and you can calculate the area of a segment of a circle by just figuring out the reduction due to angle. That's easy enough. And then you can figure out the triangular area created within that segment. And then if you figure out that triangular area and subtract it from the segment, what you're left with is the area defined by the arc and the chord. And so then you have one of the two curved sections of the overlap. You just double that, you've got the total of the overlap. That's how you'd figure out that area for any given angle. Assuming... Oh, that's assuming circles of the same size. Okay, it gets more complicated if you've got different size circles.
This is it. Use the key glyph and get ready for whatever happens next.
Okay, that... I'm not a fan of this, Ray. Not a fan. Why are we doing this? And like, are you needing a general solution or specific cases? Because specific cases are calculable. General solution, you would need to have an appropriate count for the variables involved. I'm just going to kill the Grizzling. They annoy me. They run off, ruining enemy spawn locations. Where are you at, you little cretin? How did I kill him? Oh. I got the first one. Now, this is a Netracell with various debuffs applied to me, and honestly, I haven't played it any differently so far. Such is the power of Lavos. I accidentally just walked out of the area of that Blitz Xmas. He tried. He failed. I laughed. Didn't know we could bring our math homework to Ken. Well, not most people know. But you see, Ray is a Trinity supporter. And that doesn't mean that he plays Trinity, although he might. I don't know. It means that Ray is, among other things, a subscriber to the top tier of my Patreon, which involves coaching. Now, Ray hasn't actually taken up that coaching for the vast majority of any of the time, and instead translates that into, I have strange questions from time to time, will you answer please, mister? Which is an interesting way of doing it, but it's the way he chooses to do it. Yeah, Ray is Ray. So when Ray comes to me with his math homework, I have a little bit more incentive to help him out with it than for most people. On account of he's already paid for it. When you think about it. Oh, where's this fucking drone? I didn't pay attention to marker. Where is the drone? Oh. I slammed down here looking for the drone and accidentally killed it. Okay, yeah, that works. But yeah, Ray, for something as complex as that, I would have suggested, you know, maybe using the range of time for a proper talk on it. It depends on the exact nature of it. Yeah. Again, I have a uni statistics class next month. What can I do to prepare my butt for the incoming doom? What you could do is go through the bits you'd previously downloaded from being a Patreon supporter. I don't remember if you still are, but yeah. And then see how much of what I've created over on Patreon you can understand. Try and piece your way through that. That could get you started.
Security level dropping. Don't quit
That
now.
it is.
I gotta know what's in that Netracell.
Statistics can be absolutely soporific. Sure. But yeah, the thing with statistics classes is you need to know kind of what level that you're going into. Because if you start getting into the kind of statistics which talks about negative probabilities, I can't help you. Once you're at the level of quantum fuckery, I can't help you. Likewise, once you're at the stage of dealing with probabilities in excess of 100%, and I don't mean 100% crit chance, I mean actual probability over 100%. Yeah, again, nope. You're dealing with something arcane, and I do not want to touch it. Negative probabilities? Yeah, you heard me right. This came up on the Discord recently. I'm just like, you know what? No. No. Just, no. You are doing things that shouldn't be done there. Please stop. Subtracting a positive probability from an equation to figure out the remainder? Yeah, sure, that's fine. Actual negative probabilities? Nah, mate, nah, that's no, that's not how this works. But it is apparently how something works. Quantum science gets a little bit scary. So let's just not deal with that. That's my answer to it. The initial cells just kept giving you melee adapters. Sometimes that's the way it goes. Sometimes that's the way it goes. Came for a break, yet reminded of my nanotechnology course. I mean, you know, sometimes we talk about the real world. Can't avoid that. Sorry. Okay, Esprit, if you're going into a physical field when it comes to probability, I think that honestly just go with the course, and then if you have questions, I may or may not be able to help. The problem with my understanding of statistics is that it is by and large just the fact that I am good at understanding statistics. A lot of the technical terminology, however, has evaded me. So if you start talking about Fourier transforms, my brain just goes, oopsie, sorry, need to Google that one. It has exited the brain.
But that could still come in handy.
Now, I can absolutely handle your averages, standard deviations, all that kind of stuff. You start throwing out some of the terminology around that, and brain stops working again. I don't remember names, I remember functions. Yeah. Am I going to get the new lava skin? Maybe. Hard maybe on that. You gotta remember, I'm a practical streamer, not a fashion one. So it is definitely going to be a hard maybe on that. Hey, there's a rock on shard. Wonderful.
Come on. Let's at least pretend this mess can still work.
You know what? I'm just gonna keep running those as is. That just works. Don't need to do anything silly.
I gotta believe
If it works, it works. Keep going. They were saying basic probability and statistics is exactly where logic stops working for me to go to figure out where the maths go and thus I fall apart. I find the easiest way for me is to turn it into sentences, because that is what mathematics actually is. It is a language. It's not a language of poetry necessarily. It's not a language of philosophy, although some might argue that point. It is instead a language of reality, of existence, a language of concept, both of physical and theoretical, a language of logic, yeah. So if you can put into words what you're trying to say, then you can put into numbers what you're trying to say. Because you just need to figure out which words are which numbers. And I don't mean like X is a value, no. I mean quite literally, like average. You're doing an average calculation. You understand the term average, but you can find a definition for average. And in mathematical sense, it is sum divided by count, if you're going for a simple mean. If you're going for chance to get something, like, yeah, what X% chance to get something, 1 minus X% chance to not get that, 1 minus X to the power of Y chance to not get something after trying Y times. Translate it. And the bit that you can't translate, that's the bit you don't understand, that's the mathematic you need to fix. Once you can read your equation as a sentence, you know your equation. Read it as a sentence. Mind you, I am saying this from a position of someone who was learning calculus, including things like your integrations, differentiation, when I was 11 years old. So it does come a little bit more naturally to me than most others, I will admit.
Made of stronger stuff than me.
Oh, I've just turned the wrong direction. No, I haven't. Wasn't paying attention. As we say, the problem of 40 maths is my professor will always teach us multiple methods of doing something, then ask for a specific one in homework. I'll do the other ways, and they'll dock me for it because it's not a specific way. Yeah, that's called being a bad professor, absolutely. Unless the method is necessary for some reason, and that is really rare, the professor should be looking that you can both answer the question and show reasonably how you got there. Basically, to not only give the answer, but to give the sentence that got you there. If you can answer the sentence, you're good. But I know that it's not a universal approach to it. Grosling GTFO plus. If I do that, oh, that's gas. Wanted this. Radiation, because you're weak to it. This will burn you down quicker. Thank you for the extra loot. And then we switch back to corrosive because armor is a big deal, and we deal with that. Alright then. Someone's saying, sometimes certain methods, some particular detail you need to learn. Yeah. Absolutely. But if other methods would have also got there, then either the question is insufficient for demonstrating the understanding of it, or being so particular about the method is probably incorrect. Oh, hey, there's an Ekmek here. Hi! I have a solution for you. It's called Get Bent. Stop turning so quick. Stop turning so quick. Where's that Leech Xmas? Making this harder than it needs to be. Oops, wrong combo. I never like when the Leech Xmas spawns and I can't quickly see where they are. I think I killed it by chance anyway. Do I run green shards on my Lavos? I use 1 Tau Forged. I have been thinking of switching over to using 2 green shards, but with the armor changes that D are proposing, that's not going to matter. So I use one Tau Forge. Ah, there it is. Got it. Approximately hate math? Yeah. A bad teacher will make you hate any subject. Absolutely. I've had terrible teachers in pretty much all of my subjects. And then I've had great ones as well. Unsurprisingly, I've got on more well with science teachers than I have with non-sciences. That's just kind of how it's ended up. But the teachers do make a huge difference into how much you can actually connect with and enjoy a subject. No doubt about it. One Tau Forge enough to strip. It gives me 98% armor removal, which with the new proposed cap of something like 2700 armor, 98% removal is enough. Assuming that's how it still works, because again, DE are changing loads of things at once, and we don't have the details on exactly what they're changing and how. So we shall see. And they spawned another Necromech. God damn it. Another Necromech that... Oh, now it's in the zone. Alright. At least you'll count towards progress then. Go to sleep, 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 go to sleep. There we are. All good in the hood again. Did that frustrate you at all? Did what frustrate you at all? Sorry. If you're referring to a prior comment, you gotta remember the fact that I've got a lot of comments to read, whilst also running a stream. Prior context doesn't work like that. Not for streamers. I like technical action. Honestly, I like it. You can see me using it right now, and it's just getting the job done. I don't need anything more powerful than this. Not for the majority of circumstances. I'm using Corrosive at the moment, which isn't strong against the non-armored Verma. And it still kills them well enough. If I need to switch, I can, because Lavos. And then the armored ones, I absolutely melt. Because they are weak to corrosive, and also corrosive does corrosive things. It's great. I prefer it over the Cooper Sorbet by quite a lot. Significantly. Find the Necromite. Somewhere over here. I can see it. Come on. Really? I swear I have punched you on this weapon. Swear I do. I might be wrong. I might have taken it off at some point and not noticed. Yeah, the Sonic Orbit does look like it'll be interesting, absolutely. It's part of the reason that I've not done the Sonic video yet, is because I want to get my hands on that Orbit and then put out the video. Yeah. Bulletproof glass? This isn't even bullets! It's beam! Pure beam. Just already Galaxian Riven? The Riven doesn't really matter that much to the Galaxian Tenet. Simply because the disposition is so low and the weapon just works as is, pretty much. I do have Prime Shred on. Alright then. Don't know what was happening with that window. Game cheating. Game just cheating. There we go. Ah.
You're in. Grab and go.
Alright, let's grab and go.
Get back here.
Easy peasy. Got it.
Huh.
Now,
What I was looking for.
thoughts come to mind.
But
The role of hunter munitions and its slash output if armor gets capped. So when you apply a slash proc, you get 35% of your non-elemental damage, or rather non-elementally modded damage, as pure damage every second. So crits apply to it, faction applies to it, actually faction applies twice, pure damage applies to it, but not elemental modding. 35%. And then you've also got that hunter munitions only applies 30% of the time, effectively giving you around about 10% of your damage per second as proc damage. If enemies are stuck at 90% and no more damage reduction, that means the damage output from hunter munitions will be at best applying about your damage, your weapon damage per second before elemental damage is considered. And it is taking up a mod slot which could go to an element such as heat. How does Punch Through work on chaining beam weapons? It can hit an additional primary target to chain off of. I cover this in the Tentacle Axiom video. Also, another Archon Shard. Yay! So my figuring there is that if armor does indeed get locked to that 2700, hunter munitions loses some of its value.
Back to what we were. Aye.
Not all of it. Not necessarily that it needs to be removed, but it certainly does lose some of its value. Because if you have enough damage that the slash would kill the enemy, you have enough damage that non-slash should be enough to kill the enemy.
Go with the herd, you know?
And again, this just puts another ticket in favour of Heat Viral. Because Heat will remove some of the armour, which would further make Slash's benefit less pronounced. And Heat and Viral still stack together, and Heat still has all the Heat things that Heat does. On top of having higher initial damage because you're using an elemental modifier to multiply in. I'm not even looking at the keys, I'm just grabbing them now. So hunter munitions will be worse because other things will be better. More hunter munitions... Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Hunter munitions itself doesn't get worse, it's just its place would become diminished if armor is indeed capped to 2700. 2700, 90% damage reduction. Like, it's a high number, but slash isn't a high number output in the first place. It requires there to be a lot of armor for the slash box to really matter. Otherwise, you could just go for a different element. This is part of the reason why hemorrhage and internal bleeding just aren't worth using on weapons that don't have a forced impact proc. Because without that forced impact proc, the chance of applying the impact and therefore the slash is so low that you might as well go with heat modding instead. I literally demonstrated this in my video about those two mods. That you just have better options from either hunter munitions or from pure heat. I need to get a terminal. So this would potentially further amplify that. It'll be curious to see how this all shakes up, to be quite honest. There are a lot of moving parts. Again, I feel the need to try and talk about the different options and possibilities and impacts, but it is so hard to really say anything useful and conclusive because so much is changing. Various elemental procs are changing the nature of how they operate. Damage type vulnerabilities and resistances are changing significantly. Armor is having a sledgehammer thrown at it. To what full extent will not be clear until it's all in. Some change to enemy armor damage reduction calculation, info not given. We'll just have to wait on that one. There's so much changing, it's really hard to conceptualize. It really is.
This is it.
Would boosting impact proc Be counterintuitive on weapons modding then. Yeah, because all the time spent improving your impact, which in most cases is going to be a fraction of your damage output, you could spend improving your heat proc, and elemental mods for heat apply from your whole base damage, not just the impact portion. To the point that only on a pure impact weapon would you see a significant benefit there, and again you're still working with a limited proc chance, multiplied by another limited proc chance. When you could just not do that, and heat just works. If you're using slash, heat would work. If heat wouldn't work, slash wouldn't have worked. By and large, the observation you can make. Is that a necromech on me again? I've done it. Yep, I hear the necromech. Where are you, little feck? There you are. I do love applying 7 corrosive procs to something that suffers nothing from corrosive. Oh, I mean... Let's deal with this correctly. Get rid of the arm. And then... Hang on, wait. Did you just turn your back to me? Oh, okay. I mean, if it wants me to shoot it directly, I can do that. Come on. Perish, 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 perish. Thank you. Pack's killing all the small fry. Necromite. Oh, it's right there. You thinking about swapping your toxic action to magnetic? It seems like that might be a good shout, honestly, because magnetic being a universal anti-Xmas bonus, that can come in handy. That can come in handy. As well as still leaving your build free to do whatever you want with it, rather than being locked into having toxin present somehow. I'd say it's changed and it's more diversity. Yeah. More options and reasons to use those options are nice. So, more valid options. We already have viral works, heat works, electric works, toxin works, cold works, corrosive works. Radiation is weaker, but it has its places, certainly against enemies which are weak against radiation. That's going to be less universal for the changes, which is actually going to nerf radiation. Yeah. I'm just going to say that outright. Radiation itself is getting a nerf. I'll stop healing. There we are. Most likely radiation is getting a nerf, because currently it's got a benefit against alloy armor, which is huge in a lot of heavy places. It's great against Necromechs, it's great against Eidolons, it's great against Prophet Taker. If those become neutral, radiation is going to get weaker. Blast is in a terrible location, so improvements to that are welcome. I still don't like the idea of turning everything AoE, but we'll see how it shakes out. My fears may be unfounded. May. Magnetic is getting that force buff, so that's fine there. What else am I missing? Oh, corrosive. Gas. Do we think that gas is good enough, really? No. They said the rest of enemies will be the same weakness. Yeah. Well, no. That's going to be the faction change, rather than it being based on a health type and armor type. The D have already said they're changing that. LU, every status type does that. All of them. All the time. Literally all of them all the time. being a problem. You shit. No, midworm. God, these bloody things. I know the Boltor would absolutely clean through them, but then it means I can't have my action with me. Can you stop hanging your back where I'm not looking at it? I'm slowing you down specifically so I should be able to get behind you. Can this Xmas fuck off? There we go. Well, they're not hard to beat, they're just getting annoying. You and Genuine just quoted the workshop. Usually when people quote things, they put quotes. Because otherwise it sounds like they're using their own voice to say it. And then it sounds like you believe it. Just saying. I know that I was in the workshop. It sounded like you believed the workshop. Did I forget my drop from the Grozling? I guess I did, yeah. Yoink. Well, that made a huge difference in my life. Murmur and Necromech still going to be weak to radiation and corrosive, no? We don't know. Probably radiation, don't know about the corrosive. So we don't know. Yeah. We have so many details and so few at the same time. It genuinely hurts me.
Take whatever Albrecht was hiding and get
It
back to the
genuinely just... so many headlines, so few stories. The pain. The pain. Alright, let's get out of here.
What I was looking for, but
Did I get yet another Archon shard? That would be nice. Let's see what I've managed. Here we are. Legendary Arcane, I can take that as well. That is fine.
there you are.
I would speak with you.
Ta-da! That is all out of the way now. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful, wonderful. So we got the Archon Hunt done, got all Nether Cells done, got the Elite Archimedes done earlier in the week. That is good. Where am I at in terms of stacking those melee legendaries now? 12 and 9. Getting there. Getting there. Did I get the shard from Bird 3? I don't think that I did. No, good shout. I keep forgetting that's there because I kept forgetting about Carl and it wasn't there with Bird in the first place. Brain hasn't solidified that connection. That's another thing that you said they're adding, right? Standing with these lot for doing the Nether Cells to allow you to buy the shard from Bird.
What do these do?
Because I don't know if I have standing at the moment. Nope, need a little bit more.
Have fun.
One must make the best of things. Welcome once again to the chaotic.
That's a video, by the way, made them wake up. Yeah, I do remember Dee pointing out or claiming, yeah, for the people this can take over 2 years. Like, I put that on the thumbnail. It's not exactly the average, but it was enough people to say, you know, big headline, this could take 2 years. So yeah, it did stand out that they read that one and went, ah, shit. Ah, that is maybe a bit much. Yeah, it is a bit much. Ooh, wow, that's let's do those instead, and then these. There we go, that works.
This ought to better times
Oop.
ahead.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks, Lloydie. Any treasures? Archon shard. Grabby grabs. Lovely. Resisting the urge to mimic that whistle back. What are we building today? a collection. No particular weapon build, as it were. We are building an umbral former, we are building up our collection of shards and all kinds of goodies. But otherwise trying to take it a little bit more chill. In advance of the big ol' update around the corner. Hello, Umbrella. Say howdy all. A bit late today because it's my brother's birthday. Visiting the family, that's fair enough. Social battery is finally run out. Welcome on in. 19 unfused red shards fine. Am I at 19? Is there really that many now? Oh damn, yeah. I got 19 unfused reds and 10 ambers and 16 azures. I got a few shards. I got a few bits and pieces, haven't I? And 69 out of 69 frames subsumed. That's pretty nice. Well, 69 out of 69 abilities unlocked, I should say. Not just all subsumes. Can I show the favourite Riven role I've got? Favourite is kind of hard to place. I can show you one of the craziest ones I got. Now you have to understand, when I show you this Riven, first you have to understand, I got this Riven when I was a much newer player, and I got this Riven before the release of Steel Path, so we had no Galvanized mods, no Steel Path Arcanes, okay? So bear that in mind, we were using older mods, older stuff. Bear that in mind. When I show you this. Comac Vizier Satidra. Plus 91.6% fire rate, that's higher than the fire rate mod for secondaries. Hello, Tunes, thank you very much for subscribing to your Prime. Plus 296.2% damage, when the normal damage mod is plus 220%, and plus 161% multi-shot when the normal mod is 120. Hello, Tunes. Again, just to be very clear, cheers for subscribing to your Prime, welcome to the channel proper. Enjoy your lovely blue badge. So this mod here, ignoring the damage to grenadier negative, which it still has a net positive damage output, but this is 3 mods put together, plus some more, and it can stack with those mods. Which is kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. And if you're not fighting the Grenadier, it's just pure benefit. It's huge. So yeah, I like it. And this was just 14 rolls. On a similar vein of the just 14 rolls, the first Riven I ever got, the Riven I got from completing the quest which allows you to get Rivens, I unveiled as an Amprex Riven. And in just 2 rolls I got this, again pre-Steel Path existing. Plus 100.9% critical damage, plus 70% electric on an already pure electric weapon, plus 144% damage minus zoom. 3 rolls on my first ever Riven. Which is kinda bonkers. For a pre-Steel Path times, that was actually really nice. Because you could use this to replace, say, heavy caliber on the older setups, and then have the crit damage and electric on top of that. So that was really, really nice to pick up on a 3-roll first ever Riven. It's beautiful. But I think today, this is probably one of the most oh what the fuck Rivens. Burston Incarnon with plus 244% crit chance, plus 164.8% heat, minus status chance on a weapon that shits out status, so we're not really going to worry about it. Yeah, that gets a bit of work done. That gets a little bit of work done, doesn't it? That's a very nice one. And that's not the only Incarnate Riven I have. It's not the only one. What platform do I play? I play PC exclusively. I have various ones for various Incarnate bits and pieces. What's everyone's favourite Incarnate? Not everyone's, but you know what I mean. Where is it? There it is. Torrid. Plus crit chance, plus crit damage. There's also plus damage to Corpus if I really want to screw their day up. That one's a nice one. It's not the best, but it's still nice. It's still a nice one. So yeah, I got a few nice ones in here. If I could sort by usage, it would probably be easier. How's my Bolter one? Oh. Okay, yeah. The Bolter one is also nice. If you're not shooting a Grenier, and you put this on your Bolter Incarnon, there we are. That's the Bolter Prime stats. That's, if you're not shooting a Grenier, that'll do some work. Even against a Grenier, it also does work, but against not Grenier, you're just laughing. See, holding onto a Cedar Riven, waiting for the Prime. I actually got that Cedar Riven just the other day. I very recently unveiled that one. This is just... crit chance, crit damage, multi-shot, minus Grenier. Yeah, boy. Lucky? Oh, you don't know the Lucky Death, I don't know. I got the Cedar Riven in opening up 2 Shotgun Rivens. The other one was for the Sobek. And I opened that up just, like, last week. Actually, no, earlier this week. And the Sobek one's pretty nice. I've got it onto Racism Prime, which on normal Sobek is doing well. Plus electric, plus damage corpus, plus damage Grenier, minus magazine capacity. It's a nice one. For a very specific setup. You have a clanmate's roll over 1,000 times on a Gorgon Riven, still nothing good. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. They've had good stats come around. Maybe not God rolls, absolutely. God rolls are ridiculously unlikely. But even 1,000 rolls, you'll have good rolls. So your clanmate has either intentionally skipped them over or doesn't understand what's good enough within 1,000 rolls. That is an insane amount of times to roll one Riven. I should know, I did the math. That is an insane amount. So I don't believe your clanmate has not been able to get even a good Riven in that time. No. I'm gonna switch up music. We've had the rock on long enough. It's actually starting to grate on me. Oh yeah. That's better. Exactly, yeah. The likelihood of getting no good rolls in 1,000 is exceptionally low. To the point that I could say I just don't believe it. I'm safe enough on that percentage going, nah. Speaking of Gorgon, any worth trying to pick up Metamorphic Mag? Remind me. In fixing the number of attacks, petrify them. I mean, if you want to. I can't say that I really care for the stat appearance on this mod. If you shoot someone enough, they become petrified. Cool. I think some people say it works against Necromex, right? So there you are. You got a thing against Necromex if you need it. I'm not that fussed about this mod. I just kind of killed the Necromex. It's not Exless? No, it's not, no. Because increased magazine capacity reduces the amount of reloading you need to do. So I guess that counts as a DPS buff. Yeah. Yeah. Gonna say, I think the changes to cold procs will make that mod useless. Not against enemies which resist or are immune to cold. So there's that. Assume it doesn't affect the Incarnon Mag? No, it won't increase the Incarnon magazine. Not at all. Those are fixed values. You can't change those with mods. Does Petrification give damage vulnerability? I guess? Which that is also changing. I suppose there is that, yeah. I'll give you that. Maybe there is some value to it on that side. Doesn't feel amazing, and to be honest, I'm not a fan of the Gorgon in general, but I suppose, yeah, there is that to it. I'll give you that. Hello, Mythic. Welcome on in. What does Gorgon Incarnate do again? Bullet. Bullet, but it's Gorgon. I'm still having a look at Rivens. What else we got in there? What else we got in here? I'm going to look at the ranked up ones, because if I've not ranked it up, then I clearly didn't care that much about the Riven roll. Or even tried to roll it, for that matter, in some cases. That is specifically for Korra. Got Fulmin 1, crit chance, crit damage, damage Grenier. It's alright. Oh, yeah, the Gorgon becomes the exploding bullet. That's what it does, yeah. So it's basically lens. Gorgon becomes lens. Okay, where? I've got a Gorgon Riven? Oh, yeah, so I have. Well, what do you know? Electricity, multi-shot, CS duration, minus zoom. It's not a great Riven. That CS duration is kind of meh. But electric multi-shot minus zoom, not the end of the world. Not at the end of the world. Hate, I've got Grenier, crit damage cold. Heck, crit chance punch through multi-shot. That gets some work done. That gets some work done. Melee damage, crit chance cold, not amazing. It works for putting it on a viral setup, but it's otherwise not amazing. Crunch. Crit chance, crit damage, attack speed. That's a nice one. Yeah, that's a nice one, isn't it? No negative on it, so it's not a god roll, but it's up there. That is indeed a nice one. Shame though that melee can get so much crit chance, which makes this stat a lot less valuable, but for heavy attacks it's very nice. Yeah. Yes, that'd go on my Kuva Crunch. Yeah. So it goes on my Thorax, goes on my Bip Kuva Crunch. Yeah. Scroll was to say, Ken, let's discuss changes to one that makes semi act as full auto simplified. Have you thought about noteworthy weapons in this context? Not really, no. Not really. It's not been a huge focus of mine on that side, other than just the accessibility, rather than, hey, this elevates the weapon's usefulness. I guess in a lot of cases, like your dual secondaries that are semi-autos, those can benefit. So your Akjagara, for example. I think Akjagara is a semi-auto. I think it is, yeah. So that could work out. Proboscis Riven? Never heard of them. Proboscis Cerdos? Yeah. I'd never get a Riven for that weapon. Sorry, Def Dodo. They just don't exist. Akjagara's Burst, is it? Ah, okay. So that wouldn't apply then, would it? Well, maybe. We'll see what you do. That's why you never got one holding all of them. I just have a couple, and I've done nothing with them. That author looks pretty crap. Ogress! Heat, crit damage, status duration. Rattle Guts. It's a Rattle Guts though. Spore Lacer, Mortal Shot damage, crit damage. That's okay. We've seen the Sobic one. Stalter. Minus multi-shot. I think I was testing out that. Yeah. Alright. Stug. Even with 0 recoil and plus 280% damage, it's still the Stug. It's still the Stug. You can't fix that. It's still the Stug. I have 2 Envoy Rivens, one of them ranked up, which is Zoom, crit chance, crit damage. I mean, the plus Zoom makes me sad, but the rest that's okay. This one, however, is terrible. So we'll just ignore the rest of that one there. And yeah, I've got a couple Zenith ones. 3 Zenith ones going around as well. Sure, why not? 3 Zenith Rivens. A weapon I barely use. Sure. Rocketman say, I have a Glaive Riven, but I lack the rank to use it. Should I keep it or sell it? Seeing as Glaive Prime is coming back soon. It is unlikely that you are going to get anything amazing from a Glaive Riven yourself. If you really want to, you could try rolling the Riven and trying to get some amazing stats on the Glaive, but I find it unlikely that you'll succeed. Because of the low disposition on it, you need to get specific stats to get value out of a Riven. However, it is going to be worth an absolute bundle of platinum, especially as Glaive Prime is just around the corner. Glaive Prime coming back, that is just around the corner. So decide for yourself. Make one of the most powerful melee weapons in the game slightly more powerful at the expense of a lot of Kuva, or make bank. Your choice. Which works better for you? Which works better? Yeah, melee damage initial combo over 20 on your Riven before they nerf Dispo. Yeah, Dispo does that to you, doesn't it? Dispo does do that. Felix in kind of form will be fun after semi-auto update. There will be that benefit, yeah. That will be nice. It's still going to be on the slower side, but it's still workable. Still workable. Yes. I sold 5 Lift G1s for 335 plat one day before the dev stream. Ooh, well done. Well done on that. That's definitely going to be a bit of a boost. Considering the prices are going to have crashed since then. Still sitting on 3 sets of glaive? Well, that's your problem, isn't it? Still holding 6? Oof. This is what you get if you hold on to stuff for a very, very, very long time. We've known for a long time that Ember Prime was overdue coming back. So if you were sitting on sets going, I can get more value, I can get more out of it. Quite frankly, that was scalping. So I have zero sympathy. You could have offloaded those at any time. You could have offloaded those and got yourself a lot of value. So if the value has crashed out from under you on that one, zero sympathy from me. Nope. You held, you took the risk. And if you made bank along the way, cool, don't complain. Y'all chose that route. But I say, don't forget, folks, semi-auto to auto thing is going to be a settings toggle, not default, memory to manipulate. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Alright then. With the major bits I wanted to sort out of the way, and we're not focusing too much on the dev workshops because we've basically concluded there's a whole bunch of D plus we need info. I suppose I can do these Nightwaves real quick. Visit a dojo, sell an item and kill some melee stuff. Yeah. I prefer guns, but sure. I can follow the rules. Let's drop into a featured dojo, let's sell something and then let's do some meleeing. Why not? LA easy to do. What's my opinion on greed being the strongest emotion a person can feel? Look, son, I'm a engineer. That means I solve problems. Not problems such as, what is greed? For that would fall within the purviews of your philosophy. I solve practical problems. For example, how am I going to quickly complete a Nightwave? Simple. Visit a dojo. And if that's not enough, we sell an item. Like these items I've acquired over here. 1,212 Harrow chassis blueprints. Earned by me, kept by me, and sure as shit, not being sold for you. Now, as far as ad-lib goes, I think that was alright. Is that like 5 mil? It's a few credits. It is a few credits right there. Let's see, 4,238,500 credits. Yeah, there's a few credits there. And we got nav coordinates for another 365,000, fish meat for another 28,000, anti-serum injector for 3,000. Nora's mix credits, 1.5 million if I wanted to get rid of those. Yeah, let's not do that. We're still in that mix. Gorgon blueprints for 400,000. 4 Spectre blueprints, 61,000. Furliac parts, 34,000. It's mostly in the Harrow chassis, isn't it? It's mostly in those. Stock. Yeah. That's a terrible trade. 1,000 credits for a whole secondary deadhead? Are you kidding me? Ew. Let's never do that. How does Magistrat crit 25 meters from heavy slam? I'm intentionally misreading that. How does the Magister crit 25 billion damage for heavy slam? By being built for it. Built for crits, built for combo. And then heavy slam. Pretty much. Yeah. Let's get those melee kills in, because I do need to do that. Let's equip. Flex. Don't have a reason, just gonna equip it. Wonder how the changes are going to affect our time to kill on Archons. Not having the bonus to radiation against them might affect it. But I'm sure the amount of damage we have available to us these days, the true Eidolon pros probably have enough to one-shot even without the radiation bonus. So it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. You feel like I'm missing a meta train not using it? What, the heavy slam Magister? You don't need to worry about it. Like, if you want to go down that road, absolutely you can do so, but it's not like the meta is being defined by heavy slam single weapon setups. You can do what you want and you'll still absolutely obliterate things. You'll be fine. Do we have any idea how much armor Eidolons have? Yeah, it is on the wiki. I forget the values, but it is on the wiki.
Your enemies have grown fierce. Use all that you have learned.
Alright, let's break some ankles.
They have just shut down all systems. I'm sending life support capsules
In
your way.
Archons? Oh, Archons, sorry. Oh yeah, not Eidolons. Archons, Archons. My head broke. Sorry. Honestly, no idea. I have no idea. Because they have such weird damage attenuation anyway, I don't believe our damage... our time to kill should get better. Because it does seem to be basically a timer against them. Much like it is with the Murmur boss. It's reach the damage cap and then keep reaching it. So I don't expect anything amazing. But these guys are getting absolutely obliterated. I'm nearly killing them outright before the slash block even kicks in. And then the slash block just goes, hit! And they just fall over. Also, I've ended up in the wrong room. I hate this room. This room is so bad for maintaining life support. I've got a good weapon, which helps to mitigate that, but I really dislike this. Have I taken Lavos, like on long endurance runs, like level 10,000? Nope, I have no interest in such missions. I've never played Warframe to sit in a mission hours on end. I have done some longer missions, and I've just never enjoyed it. So, nope, I've not done that with Lavos. Furthest I've taken him is either in the circuit or like levels 600 odd, I think. At which point the health tank was failing, so there's that. Meeting John problem, did it once, despise the experience, will not do again. I just don't care for that side of the game. It is purely an extrapolation of the level scaling equation, dialing it up to stupid, and I don't find any part of that fun. The rewards don't increase. The difficulty is just, hey, can you continue to cheese this system? What form of invulnerability are you going to bring? Are you bringing Vazarid? Are you bringing invisibility? Are you bringing shield gate? Which invuln are you going to rely on for the next hour, 2, 3, however long? That's not fun to me. So I just don't. What do I think about a 100-hour endurance run? I think touch grass. Like, it's not an impressive achievement, because again, you've hit level cap well before that. And if you are able to hit and survive at level cap, your build is done. Congratulations, you've succeeded. Continuing beyond that isn't impressive to me. It just comes across as unhealthy. Not to mention the fact that it also then screws with these detection systems, and they apparently seem to get pissy about that. Their support team are not great for that kind of thing. But overall, I just have no care for it. I would rather run the same mission 600 times over at 10 minutes a pop than run one mission for 100 hours. And that is the same amount of time. I want you to be aware there. Chose those numbers specifically. The same 10-minute mission 600 times is one 100-hour mission. And where do you think you're going to get the most rewards from? Sure, with survival, the rewards are meted out every 5 minutes. You can't speed that up. But your rate of handling the acolytes will slow down. And my willingness to care slows down. The amount of time focused on defense at that point, because the damage incoming is so damn high, you have to be perfect on your defense. You skip a shield gate, you die. Just dead. Yeah. Deftones say I think it's only worth it fishes because you get the 100% bonuses. Still not worth it to me. Like, yes, technically, that will give you more resources if you're farming Kuva or farming Void Traces. I've not got time for that. I've really, really not got time for that. I cannot be bothered with that. That's just pain. If you say, I feel like that being perfect part for such a long time is what makes it interesting. It's machine. Like, this is how I'm able to have this conversation with you right now. I'm not actually paying attention to how I'm using my weapon here. You figure out the process, and then you just run it as a machine for 100 hours? That doesn't appeal to me in any way. I can see what's required to get there, and I just don't value it high enough for it to matter to me. Endurance running to that level ignores the vast majority of how this game is actually designed and set up. The vast majority of its reward circuits. For bragging rights. Bragging rights that I don't value. They're bragging rights as impressive as having 1 million comment karma on Reddit. I couldn't care less. Now, I'm not saying it should be banned. Absolutely not. I'm not saying it should be removed. Absolutely not. I'm not saying anything disparaging to its existence in general. If someone wishes to go down that line and make videos for it, do whatever they want with it, have fun with that. You go do you. And I will keep doing my 6-minute 23-second missions. Corpse is saying, I wish we had scaling rewards, that would be cool, and all endurance modes to not reset rotation. I wish against that, because Warframe is set up to be a casual game, and it's got a casual player base, by and large. You go for that kind of approach, and now all of a sudden it's about the endurance runs. Because not doing the endurance run is negative efficiency. Now if you're not sticking into a mission 2, 3, 4 hours, you are missing out on rewards. And that ends up screwing it over. That causes burnout. Yeah, not ideal. I prefer the fact that the missions basically come to a stop. But in the endless missions, you can choose to just repeat the mission at functionally higher levels. Or you can choose to leave and reset the level scaling. But the actual mission has come to a stop and it's just a repeat of the same mission. She's saying, problem is there's no endgame. I'm MR30 and I have nothing worthwhile to do. Alright, play something different. I'm going to be quite honest with you, play something different, because endurance is not the answer. Just an extrapolation of the level scaling system, which invalidates a lot of the options that Warframes have, is not an answer. That's not an end game. DE have made it clear to us what the end game is. The end game is variety. It's to go wide, not tall. It's to have a full arsenal. They have made that the design. You gain your mastery points by leveling up weapons. You gain more freedom and flexibility to dominate elite Archimedia and the circuit by having well-geared weaponry. That's Warframe. Mastery of Warframe is to go wide and to understand the breadth of mechanics there, to be able to step into the different missions, the different challenges it provides to you, and to handle it. That's the end game. That's what they've made. And I know a lot of people look at that and go, that's not end game, it's level 400 enemies, I can kill them with a rotten stick. Okay, fair enough, congratulations. You've reached max level. Max level players can handle max level content. Nothing new about that. Welcome to every RPG ever. Yeah. If you were looking for a complicated and difficult game where you have to be on the ball on so many different mechanics, that was never Warframe. That was never Warframe. Literally never. That may be more of the types of games like Dark Souls. Or that might be the kinds of things you'll get in PvP games, where you are now fighting against a very clever opponent. And so you have to outskill them, not just game mechanics. If you're wanting something that complex and cutthroat, that's not Warframe. Warframe's never advertised itself as highly mechanical, cutthroat, endgame difficulty for everyone of every tier. It's just not what it is. And I don't see a way for Warframe to become that. People already bitch and moan, and I do mean bitch and moan. There is no way to downplay that. They really do. When it comes to EDA, Elite Deep Archimedia, the restrictions on weapons and warframes, the additions of the various modifiers coming into play, creating much more significant challenges. People look at that and they bitch and moan. The hardest Warframe has to offer, and people already call that too much. Warframe's market is chosen. Warframe's market is chosen. Short missions, casual experience, repeat. Build your collection, improve your collection, master your collection. I'm going to say some of the modifiers aren't always fun. Yeah, I won't disagree on that. There are issues with the design. To say that EDA would be perfect would be to say something I've not said here. Absolutely. Hey, Manta? See what the bot did? Come on. Anyway, yeah, EDA has its flaws in the number of Warframe options that it can shut down at times. When all enemies have Overguard, that basically says, fuck you to anything crowd control. And if that exists as one of the missions, either you lean on your teammates to fix that for you, or you don't take a crowd control reliant Warframe. That's basically your option. If you wanted to go in solo, and it says, yeah, everything's got Overguard immunity, and you are reliant on crowd control to keep you alive, nope. That ain't gonna happen. That use of communication is not healthy? Sure what you mean by that one. Alright. God forbid your 3 Warframe choices are all CC based. Yeah, at which point you're relying on allies. Absolutely. Challenges which add challenge? Yeah. Challenges which shut down entire playstyles? Not so great. That in itself kind of ties into the fact that Warframe is a looter shooter. And it is very, very insistent on those 2 bits. Looter, shooter. If you're not here to loot, you're not going to enjoy Warframe. If you're not here to shoot, you're likely not going to enjoy Warframe. That's basically how it shakes out. And pretty much all missions are shoot, shoot, and more shoot. Crowd control isn't shooting, which means it can be a secondary element, and as we see with Overguard being applied to all enemies in some Warframes, becomes a forced secondary aspect that gets discarded. But the shoot is still there. They can't remove shoot. So shoot always works, and therefore people use shoot. That's a fact. Kiki28 say, hey there, I'm new to new Warframe player. I just got Nova Prime and I'm stuck a little on builds. Any tips? There's a variety of different builds for Nova, a lot of different ways that you can set her up, and it really comes down to what you're trying to do with her, what you want from her. And part of that comes from understanding what her abilities are actually capable of. I don't currently have a YouTube guide on Nova, so I can't direct you on that side there, sorry. But really, it does come down to looking into what her abilities can do, and then how you can enhance that. If I just spout off some mods to you, you won't understand the actual ability aspects of that, and that's going to be useless then to you, because Nova requires you understand what her abilities do. She's not just a press button, deal damage Warframe. She is more complicated than that. No worries to have a rough build, just looking at finishing off. Well, then you were already on the path. You're good. If you've already got a build, you're probably along the right lines. There you are. I love Disarm, Loki, and Freeze Frost for back in the day. Sadly, neither of them are effective in any way. And seeing you on CC, immune to CC, I mean, yeah, that is an aspect, isn't it? I understand why Overguard was made. Overguard was a good idea in general. I do believe this. Simply because crowd control without Overguard is oppressive. If you can snap your fingers and every single enemy nearby can now no longer move, no longer shoot, where's the challenge? If anyone wants to talk about, oh, there's no challenge in Warframe, talk to me about how Warframe was pre-Overguard. Snap your fingers, everything's frozen. Limbo could do it, Frost could do it, various others could do it. Snap your fingers, everything's frozen. Or ragdolled. Or just prone on the floor. Or moving at a glacial pace. Whatever you do. Locked up. That ain't good. That ain't gameplay. No. Can I show the Frost build? Use him in the Sobek, please. Just built him. I will do next week, Moose. It's going to be in the next video. The issue that arises with Overguard is when it's overused. The whole point was to still keep threats that you then have to challenge, and so you go and deal with those challenges. When you're not given ample tools to deal with those challenges, then it can become a problem. For example, Limbo can begin to struggle if the overguarded enemy he has to deal with is outside of his zone of influence. Normally, Limbo can just hide away from it. The overguarded enemy's ability will smash through into the rift that can threaten Limbo. You get multiple Xmas at once, Limbo can go straight down to it, or just a single awesome Xmas that catches him off guard, Limbo goes down to it. So he's at risk there, on top of the interference it provides against his allies. If, however, there's limited number of overguard enemies, Limbo can more focus down on just the one unit. He can set up his zone, set up his crowd control to try and handle it. So there is that issue there for the squishier frames. In general, Overguard is a good idea. Once you've got the whole room with Overguard, that ain't no good. Exma Stronghold or everything gets Overguard and EDA completely defeats the point of Overguard, of having specific units to target, and instead says crowd control can get stuffed. Yeah. Blue not being a tower is triggering you? Oh, Darius, do you realise what you've just done? Darius, I don't think you realise what you've just done. I don't think you realise what you have just done. Fuck you. Get triggered. Enjoy. Don't let the petty things get you like that, dude. Honestly, it's better. You're welcome. Glad I made it better for you. Counter uniform? Yeah. Because now we've got plus armor, and plus corrosive, and plus parkour velocity, and plus casting speed, and plus strength. They're all pluses. Nice and balanced. Yeah. It's lovely. And we got blue, green, yellow, yellow, red. Rather than like yellow, orange, red. Nah, we can't have a rainbow. Yeah. Gotta have it all broken up. I still love that Nightmare frame is triggered when shards aren't symmetrical. Yeah, he really dislikes my shard placement, does Nightmare. He really, really dislikes my shard placements. Like this one. It is beautiful. Yes, I have a second Lavos, fully formed and fully sharded. But I sharded all over the place with this one. It's not even the same Tau Forged or non-Tau Forged. It changed. We've gone from the red being non to now the yellow being non. One of the yellows. And now they're not balanced. The fix the bug about shard placement? Yeah, that one got fixed. The violet shards having extra power for no good reason, that one got fixed. Must resist urge to a mirror lab moment. I don't know what your mirror lab moment would be there, A-Gear, other than like gifting subs, because that's a mirror lab moment. But sure. But there we are. Wukong. Yeah, that's fine. 2 reds, 2 purples, and a yellow off to the side. Equinox, only 4 shards. Why not? Tania, what was the setup on that one? Hey, that one's balanced. Sometimes it works. Yo, Mirror Lab, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs right there. That's going out to Icy Clears, to Heatstroke 3110. I love how we got Icy and then Heatstroke next to each other. Just the way that fits. To Brian Snee. Is that? Yeah, Brian Snee. To Scavcow and to Tilorin. Really, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate that there. Cheers indeed. I wonder if anyone else is going to join in on that leaderboard at some point today, or if it's just going to be a Mirror Lab day. I think it might just be a Mirror Lab gift day, which is fine. It's fine. So I'm saying, what bugs did you put into the video and were not annoyed, but glad it were fixed? My Sacticare one's too obvious. What bugs did you put into a video and were not annoyed, but glad that were fixed? Honestly, no idea. No idea. That's, I try not to dwell on bugs, I'll be quite honest. But yeah. Yo! Anonymous, whoever ye be. This doesn't put you onto the leaderboard, unfortunately. But Anonymous, thank you very much for gifting a sub over to Kathy Prime 47. Kathy Prime. Make sure you thank Anonymous for that. Yeah. Cheers indeed. How is Squirbo not subbed? How long has Squirbo been here? They have previously been subbed for a couple months. And they've been here since July... No, not July. Since March 2022. So they've been here a couple years. And if they're not subbed, they're not subbed. That's their choice. They're allowed to do that. Yup. Simple as that, really. Freak Style saying, one of the ways to make challenging content is to make the enemies with better AI. And to be able to counter you in the same way. Random alerts and increasing the level of enemies to not challenge. Alright. Better AI. Better AI. Okay. Freak Style, can you just give me a rundown? Give me 3 bullet points. Because we're talking better AI, it's going to be more than one. Can you give me 3 bullet points of what enemies should do, given their current abilities and skills? So it's not like they're going to gain the ability to snatch your gun out of your hand if they couldn't already. They're not going to gain the ability to cast Mesmer Skin, given they currently can't. So with what they can currently do, can you suggest 3 things that would make for better AI? What would be better? Because hey, it might have some valid ideas there. Granted, they won't exist in the game, regardless of what you say, but I'm curious. I'm also curious as to what this inbox message is. It's a gift from Alagia. It is a Lavos. I already have 2 Lavoses, but now I have a 3rd. Alagia, thank you very much for the extra Lavos. I didn't need more of my sort by usage to be filled up by Lavos, but thank you. Let's hit full random. Oh dear. Oh. Oh my, that is... The rotated sigil, the random armor pieces, the hand over the sonic belt, the mismatching colours here, the rabbit ears, just why? The leg plate where one is on the front and one is off to the side, like none of this matches. Absolutely none of this matches. This is horrifying. Why did I just do this? Oh boy. Real Bajangle say that's hot. The first thing you ever say on this stream is that's hot. There's someone for everyone. Alright. Freestyle is a couple points in. Freestyle, like I say, to be able to counter your attacks in some way. Alright. 2, to have enemies buff the other enemies. Alright. Okay. We'll give Freestyle a moment. Let's see what their 3rd point is. Then I'll address it. I did give them 3. Yeah, the rotated sigil really does add to it. And we've got an animated sigil on the back as well. Alright. That's just... This is a work of art. Oh, what was that animation? What animation set we're using? Rhino Deathwatch Noble Animation. Okay. Yeah, we just suddenly decide to start hovering ominously. Let's go make other people have to deal with this. Strata Relay. Go to the busiest one we can. Oh, don't worry, Zom, we'll get there. I'm letting them have all 3 points, then we'll address it. Alright. Deathwatch Weirdest Skin. It is a pretty weird one, isn't it? But then there's also Hildren Prime, so you know. Alrighty. Am I actually in Relay 3? Yes, I am. There's people hanging around. Yeah, for a busy relay, it doesn't feel that busy, does it? I'm seeing like 3 people here. Busy. Still enough people to affect. Shield Blessing it is. You're welcome. I'd rather you didn't solo me out. I only want it from the one person. We can address it from there. Just the one, thanks. The engineer! Recognized when I give a shield blessing with the ugliest frame I've just made. Yup. And Lavos just having a moment. And now we leave. Yeah.
The Kengineer! Oh my god! Wait, are they here? Kengineer.
Cheers. Yeah, it does affect anyone who's trying to get perfect shield gating with the shield gating from energy, but that's about it. It doesn't really nerf anyone these days. It certainly doesn't have the hard cut that it used to. Alright, now let's get rid of that. Let's switch to a far more ordinary looking frame. There we are. Much better. Alright. Has Freakstyle given us the full points they were making? Have we given all 3? Or are they still writing? I didn't actually see a third one pop up. No, doesn't look like they've given me a third. Alright. I guess we're going to have to just address these 2 then. So, Freakstyle said, one of the ways to make challenging content is to make the enemies with better AI to be able to counter you in the same way. Random loadouts and increasing level enemies is not a challenge, says Freakstyle. They follow up on that saying, like I say, to be able to counter your attacks in some way, and 2, to have the enemies buff other enemies. I mean, starting with that second one, to have enemies buff other enemies. This is something that Freakstyle thinks should be added to Warframe. So, we don't have Guardian Xmas, or Arctic Xmas, or any of the Xmas effects actually in general, and we don't have Ancients, like the Ancient Healers and Ancient Disruptors. We don't have the Protective Domes that's been produced by Nullifiers. We don't have, let's see, the sensor regulators, those broadcast beacons, the Grenadier setup that give them a damage enhancement. None of this exists. It does. Granted, it's not everywhere. Granted, yes, a lot of enemies do act on their wands. I will give you that. But we do have buff enemies already. We do have units that enhance other units already. So maybe you mean there should be more of that? Maybe more enemies should try to work together in some way? Rather than just, you know, Leech Xmas healing others nearby randomly, and the Guardian Xmas giving them protection. Maybe there should be more interactive enemies. I can see that. On the other side though, like I say, I quoted from them, to be able to counter your attacks in some way. And no, under average, no, you're right, it's not an AI improvement, that is a mechanics improvement. Yeah, point 3 is enemies work as a team. Okay, so your point 2 and point 3 are the same point then, got it. And enemies do work as a team, we'll come back to that in just a second. So, you want enemies to be able to counter our attacks in some way. I'm trying to figure out what you actually mean by that. Given the opportunity to make these points to this stream here, to be addressed directly by myself, you decided to go with have enemies able to counter your attacks in some way as a full point. Firstly, as Nick Cage points out, yeah, Sentients do kind of do that. They gain resistance to our damage over time, so that exists. We do have the enemies use cover to try and avoid our attacks. They will actively duck into cover. They will run back to cover if needed, not just running forwards all the time. If we are trying to be sneaky and they detect us, they will go and set off alarms so that others know to look for us. We can no longer sneak up on them. That counters us. Especially as if we can't get a stealth melee hit, we lose stealth melee damage, which counters us. We have special units like, yeah, the Violence Acolyte. That actively counters us outright. We have enemies which steal our guns. That counters us. We have the Scrambus, we have the Nullifier. People hate those. We have the Ancient Disruptor, shutting down your energy, and prior to shutting down your energy, they also make it where your abilities do less damage to them and nearby enemies as well. There are quite a number of enemies that do actively counter our attacks. How many counters do we want? And further to that, how is that AI? How is them countering our attacks part of their programmatic thinking? Because when I think of enemy AI, I think of how do enemies make decisions on what to do? How do enemies choose the right course of action? When an enemy unit sees you and then turns tail and runs to an alarm console rather than shooting, that is enemy AI making a decision. Freakstyle saying, yes, I know that, but they die before they have a chance to counter. Oh, you are brilliant, Freakstyle. I'm sorry, there is no way I can take this seriously now. I've reached the end of being kind and serious on this one. I'm sorry, I have to make you realize what you've just said now. One of the ways to make challenging content is to make the enemies with better AI not increasing the level. Now you've said, yeah, I know that they can do these things, but they die before they have a chance to do it. So wouldn't the fix for that be increasing their level? So that they don't die before they can do these things. I'm sorry. You've just said the opposite of your own point. You've actually perfectly countered your own point. Like, I know that enemies can counter you already, but they die first. Oh man, that's beautiful. That is genuinely beautiful. That is the just give them better AI suggestion in a nutshell right there. Freakstyle, thank you very much for that. That was brilliant. You have some starting of a good point that enemies could be more synergized. Absolutely. They could try to work together more, supposedly. I can tell you now that that gets very bad very quick for the players. But to turn around and say, just make them counters in some way. Oh, but they actually die first. But it's not a level problem. My guy. Has the gifted levels changed the order of my levels? Hold on. How does that work? If I leave the arsenal, go back in. Sort by name, sort by usage. And now it's back there. I don't know how this game works. I'm just going to have to pay even more attention now when selecting levels. Great.
The multitude of creatures you have immortalized would
But
cry
yeah,
out in thanks
there is
if they could.
there is absolutely a potential for enemies to be smarter by working together if D wanted to give them ways to interact. Oh, Shezbot. First of all, this is a worthwhile distraction. New discoveries about the Windows Recall feature. Since it has to drop in a week or so, we get to know that 1, the database of it is stored in SQLite, which is effectively plain text. Oh, fucking wow. 2, it stores, processes your payment information. Wow. 3, to turn it on, you do not need any administrative permissions, so no pop-up will be involved. When the third-party program turns it on to abuse, it's free to collect. Oh, wow, Shezbot, I wish I knew none of that. Because that's just going to make me angry. What the hell? As Frequent's putting out here, my one friend put it well the other day in regards to catch-all make better AI. It's a fruitless endeavor, he said. The problem is that players will always get better, the AI enemies in games do not. It always becomes an ending arms race between the players and the NPC enemies. Yeah, I mean, to an extent, absolutely. We got to remember that the players are supposed to win. The players are supposed to win. Because Otherwise, what are we playing? This isn't supposed to be Dark Souls on steroids. We're supposed to be able to beat the enemies. Part of the problem there is that you can only set the challenge so high before people start struggling. To give you a very clear example of this, before I even go into the quick demo here, in the quest, the Duviri Paradox, at one point in that quest, you need to open up a chest. In order to open this chest, you need to complete that slowly rotating puzzle. In that slowly rotating puzzle, what you need to do is you need to move the marker up or down to match where the next rotating dot is coming in, and when that dot reaches the marker, you click. That's what you do. In some of these puzzles, quite frequently in fact, one will come along where it's a marker connected to another marker. And what you're supposed to do is click, hold, and release. Simply that. When you first try it, you might click and release, and it'll give a very clear indication this was wrong, this is unsuccessful. So when it comes around again, you won't try click and release, you'll try click and hold, and it gives you feedback, yep, this is working, and then you release at the end of it, because that's a very clear, logical thing to do. So, I want you to bear in mind that chest puzzle. That very obvious chest puzzle. D removed the click and hold section of that puzzle from the quest in the Duviri Paradox. D removed that to make it less confusing for new players. I didn't think it was that difficult. And that is an intelligence-based issue. We then also have equipment issue. D had to reduce the levels of the quests Angels of the Zariman and the New War. They may have done others, but those are two that stand out to me. So, the New War, the big one, the absolute fight against the big enemies we've been scaling up to for so long. And the follow-up quest from that, the Angels of the Zariman. Both of those had their levels reduced. And you might be thinking, oh, okay, yeah, because they were like level 200 or something, right? No. The New Warframe wiki. Let me see if I can get the patch note for this. Let me see if I can get the patch note for this one real quickly. Let's see. Loads of fixes, loads of issues. Control F level. Okay, patch notes are not bringing that one up. That's unhelpful. But basically, the level of the enemies in there is in, if I recall, something like level 30 or 20. We're talking in that region. We're talking star chart level. Star chart level content in a quest had to have its level reduced. And that's just wild to me. So it's really hard to increase the difficulty of a game that is designed to be as open to everyone and casual as Warframe in a intelligence-based level, like a game mechanic level. Because, my God, some people really do struggle. Whilst we're here, let me grab some troopers. No, not troopers. Elite Lancers. Your most basic of basic units. They shoot at me from a distance. They move into cover. They take cover. They fire from cover, reducing their visible hitbox. When one's reloading, another's firing at me. They use grenades to try and flush me out of my spot. If an angle doesn't seem to be working, they'll keep moving around. Keep on trying different options, as it were, to defeat me. And this is your most basic unit. Look at these guys, taking different angles, so I can't just use one bit of cover. They all work on that. I'm going to go take some cover myself now. They know I'm here. Let's see how long it takes them to work on that.
Love content can.
Yo, Lord Walrus, thank you very much for resubscribing there with your Prime up onto 2 months. Indeed, you have got that lovely bronze badge next to your name. I'm glad you enjoy the content. My dude, cheers. Oh. Cheers indeed. And you see what's happened here now? I moved into cover. This guy's come and hunted me down, and he again is peeking the cover and then dipping back in when he reloads. Meanwhile, I've got grenades being thrown long range from these others. These ones are being a little bit too dumb. They don't realise they can't hit me. Yeah. But overall, in fact, yeah, wait, they're actually going for my worm. That's what they're doing. That's why they're still over there. If I turn off the companion invincibility, they'll actually destroy the worm whilst I'm trying to hide in cover here. They're not very good at shooting at the worm, but I've made the worm the target. They can't see me, but they can see another 10-0 object, so they're going for it. And sure enough, yep, worm goes down. And now they've got rid of that target. Now they're moving up. So they've smartly taken out the companion they could see, and now they've come up to challenge me here. And this guy's backing up. He's like, I've got a ranged weapon. I don't need to be this close to you. They recognize, nah, I don't need to be stood here. They are backing up. Detonator saying the accuracy per level is low, I think. Accuracy per level got reduced because it was too difficult. Enemies used to perfectly snipe you at higher levels. And this was basically death for people. Enemies also used to react faster at higher levels. And this meant that if you came out of invisibility, they would instantly snap to you and instantly kill you. Enemy accuracy has been reduced over time to better match their ranges and threats. So that they damage you, but they don't overload you. You'll notice as well, when you get a lot of enemies, that they're not all firing at once. Let me kill this group off. Summon in a bunch over here. Yep, don't take my mouse. If I go stand in this group, look how many of them are firing at once. You notice this guy's just walking around me. He could be shooting me. He's not. This is enemy AI. This is the design of enemy AI. Despite how many of them are here at once, to keep the game fair, they're not all firing at once. They're not. Because that would overwhelm the player. Because that would exceed the balance of the game. As soon as one of them stops firing, another one opens fire instantly, so you get this constant barrage if there are indeed that many enemies, so more enemies is still a threat. But they don't all do it at once. Aspects of the game which have been made less challenging are because players actually found it too challenging, quite frankly. Try to use only 2 of them, see if they reload. They do reload, yeah. There's no point, I mean, trying that Death Dono. I showed that, in fact, just moments ago. They do, in fact, reload. We had a guy here, peeking around the corner, peeking in a way that we can't. You can see him do it right now. They were shooting, they go back in to reload. We saw it happen. And so now I'm going to cast you over to a game which most of you may not have played. A game which is FTL Faster Than Light. FTL Faster Than Light is a roguelike game. It is a brutal roguelike game. And that brutal roguelike game has it where it's your ship in a 2D layout firing against the enemy ship in a 2D layout. Now there are a couple things that the enemies do that is wrong, that is stupid. In fact, one of them players can't even do. The first thing that enemies do that is wrong and stupid is that they fire their weapons pretty much as soon as they are ready. The reason this is stupid is, say you've got 2 guns, they each fire 1 shot, and I have 1 layer of shields. One shot will take down a layer of shields, but by the time they're ready to fire the other weapon, that shield has come back, it's regenerated. So if they go pew, 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 they're never going to break my shield. It'll keep regenerating, they get nowhere. Whereas if they fire both shots at once, one will hit the shield, getting rid of it, one would hit my ship. Makes sense, right? That's called a volley. It's a simple thing to do, and it's a very effective thing to do. The second thing that enemies do badly in that game is they aim randomly. Even if a weapon fires 2 shots at once, which normally we would fire at the same room, the enemies will fire at random rooms, even completely empty rooms. And so in doing so, they reduce their effectiveness. And the reason for this, is because they tested it with enemies focus firing a room or intentionally aiming at more sensitive targets, and it was too hard at every level. There was just no surviving it. Just a little bit of focus fire absolutely screws you over, and it's exactly how the player wins. They can focus fire specific targets, they can volley fire, and enemies can't. The only way that enemies can ever volley fire is if they have a cloak to build up their charge whilst they're still not wanting to fire. That's it. And that makes the cloak on them even more threatening. It actually makes them volley. That's terrifying. So my point on all of this is that you'll find often that enemies in games will act slightly incorrectly. They will act improperly. They will not shoot when they could, or run off to cover when there was no reason to, running out of cover when there's no reason to, because it actually enables you to play the game at anything other than full try-hard level. It allows you to do that. An argument could be made for turning those restrictions off. Maybe that's what Steel Path should have been. Maybe Steel Path shouldn't have been enemy level goes up and extra hit points and extra armor. Maybe Steel Path should have been, alright, all enemies will open fire, they don't care if you're ready or not. All enemies are just more accurate, and will keep getting more accurate. All enemies will just absolutely go at you. Enemies will hold off their abilities until the perfect moment, as best as they can see it. Enemies will focus fire your companion if you survive for too long, because they figure your companion might be part of it. Maybe that should have been Steel Path. That could be an argument. Otherwise, you can see the enemy AI in action. Just more AI isn't the answer. Just more AI definitely isn't the answer. And to be quite honest with you, with the horde shooter game that this is, with the nature of how many enemies come pouring in, I can pretty much guarantee you, as soon as you make the enemies more realistic rather than fair, you will feel the misery of it. You will feel the strong desire to be playing Revenant forevermore. Because even invisible Warframes would find very quickly that enemies will just go, oh, I heard your gunshot, and you're dead. It just doesn't work out. The reason we have shield gating is to prevent you getting one shot. The reason there is this retargeting delay after invisibility is to prevent you from getting one shot. The reason enemies do not focus fire all as a group at once is to prevent you getting one shot. The reason enemies are not perfectly accurate on high levels is to prevent you getting one shot. All of that is there. And then the toxic one shots anyway. Yeah. Yeah. And look how many people complain about that. How many people look at the Toxin Xmas and go, oh wow, this is really challenging content. I am so glad this is here. Let me play even more against this challenging content. Versus, how many people go, that's not fun. I don't want D plus fix. Make only toxin proc bypass shield so I can then block the toxin procs. Plus. Shezbot, if you could put it into the supporter T lounge, I will catch it definitely there. It's best to only ping me on Discord if it's something absolutely crucial, otherwise. Yeah. Anyway, I've got a long bit about the AI in Warframe. If you pay attention to the AI for long enough, the enemies aren't instantly dead to your Vaporizer 9000. If you give them an opportunity to demonstrate their AI, you can see them actually working. We're just too damn good at killing them, for starters. And secondly, more AI would actually be too much for the casual player. Just this room alone, this room of level 195 Steel Path Elite Lancers would absolutely flummox a lot of players in Warframe. We here, you 220 people watching right now, are the outliers. You watch a content creator, a professional content creator for this game, to see what I do. I'm going to fail to blow up this grenade now. There we are. You watch me, and you learn from me. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people hit auto mod and just call it a day. Or just pick up a build off Overframe, don't understand what the build does, and call it a day. That's just a fact. Those are the people that cause the click and hold on the Deviri Paradox lock to be removed during the quest. And those are the people that had the level of the new war reduced. Yeah. What's the ticket for? Tickets for the raffle, which we're going to do now. I'm over time. Let's do the raffle. So, last chance to grab a ticket, everyone. Exclamation mark ticket in the chat for a chance to win it. Exclamation mark raffle if you need to know more about the raffle. Basically, the raffle is 75 platinum, available to one person who wins the giveaway today on any platform. That's PC, Xbox, PlayStation, or Switch. Anyone can win. You get one ticket per person. That's it. It doesn't matter if you are a follower, doesn't matter if you are a subscriber, doesn't matter if this is your very first time here, or if you've been here for 3 years, everyone has the same chance to win. Everyone. If and only if you get a ticket. If you don't get a ticket, your chance to win is 0. That's a fact. Phil's saying that would be a good challenge. Go to Steel Path for mod, only using auto install mods. How far can one go? You know what? To prove this point, I'm going to grab you, Rayleigh. Let's grab you, Rayleigh. Let's grab a new slot. Because I got the plan and I don't care. Let's see. Actions. Auto-install. What do you give me? Excellent. Not even going to care. Didn't give me any arcanes. That's a sitch. Tentaclaxion. Get rid of that. Actions. Auto-install. There we go. Beautiful. Right then. Spore Lacer. Config C. Empty. Perfect. Auto-install. Thank you. Glaive Prime. Yep. This works for me. Actions. Auto-install. Alright, let's do this. Whilst people grab their tickets, let's do this. This is a full auto-install Eurali. Steel Path Adaro. Let's do it. Ductile, I'm not sure what you mean by that question.
Your enemies have grown fierce. Use all that you have learned.
Let's just work our way through these guys. Shouldn't be that hard. It's Eurali Spore Lacer. How bad can it be? Bear in mind I have no arcanes equipped at all. None. 0. So this is weaker than it could be with just the simplest of additions on top of auto-modding. I also have 2,868 shields on a 90% damage reduction ability. Let's just get rid of you. There we go. Stronger unit takes a bit longer to kill. Who knew? Did this mod it radiation? That's an interesting choice, not gonna lie. Blast? Alright. We got corrosive blast on us now. Yep. Oh god, the slow time on that. Ugh. It is not modded to work on that. Yeah, glaive not properly modded. To be expected. To be expected, quite frankly. Glaive is a weird one to mod. You have to mod blast, so you actually know you saw it on a live stream. Oh, well, there it is. Now, if you look at this and going, yeah, but, you know, is that a fair demonstration? This is a Steel Path set the mission with a full auto mod loadout. If you want to say that's not good enough, frankly, you're setting the bar too high. Like, as far as auto mod goes, that's doing plenty. I've met the challenge. I am killing the bloody Xmas unit. Xmas dead. Automod seems to do blast often. I think it's probably to do with both polarities and that there's primed mods that get you to blast. Because there's primed cryo rounds on primary, and then there is primed heated charge on secondary. Which also there's the primed electric mod on secondary, which probably explains why I've got radiation on the secondary here. Because it's looked at those two primed elemental mods and gone, oh, fuck yeah. That's probably what happened. Auto mod saw the 165% bonus, went, hell yeah, I'm doing that. Worm's not auto modded? Ah, Worm's Worm. It's providing a few stat buffs during this, that's all it's doing. The point is, I'm using an auto-modded Urali and an auto-modded Spore Lacer, auto-modded Glax and auto-modded Glaive. And 2 Archon shards, which just happen to be on there. It gives me full strip corrosive, that's it. But I think this is doing rather well. Now, Malice might be a problem. I fully acknowledge Malice might be a problem. Well, that was interesting. Alright, can I actually kill Malice? Well, when Malice fires at things that aren't me, that helps. Moron. What are you doing that for? I'm over here. Well, that's the end of Malice. That's a Steel Path Acolyte, one of the more dangerous ones. And I killed it with an auto mod frame. What more do you want from me? What more do you want from me at this point? Rope-below list? I'll get stuffed. Get stuffed. I've basically done that. I defeated the Rope-below list with a Golden Instinct range-based Valkyr. Thank you very much. I've been there, done that, got the ticket. Leave me alone. Hi, Xmas. Bye, Xmas. Yeah. Oh yeah, and it was with randomized weapons, true. Operator only? Yeah, because Operator really restricts me so much. Oh no. Whatever shall I do as Operator? Truly, this is too much for me to handle. Yeah, Operator only just doesn't work, does it? Let's get some amp charge. Flap. Let's do the enemy thing of getting some cover for a moment to recharge my amp. Is it on YouTube? It's on the replays channel, but you'll have to dig to find that one, sorry. That's an old one. So, to put it simply, this bloody works. I've just crowd controlled everything but the Xmas unit, so now I can just kill him with impunity. Dead. And now we kill these. And this is no arcanes. I don't think it even used galvanize mods. I don't think it realized that galvanize are better. Yeah. Not even using X4X? Yeah, no fart on this. That was pure just 777 on Iru. Scoopy whippy. Just gonna tear them apart. I think I've made my point. I'm gonna finish the mission to make my point, but I think I've made my point. That really it doesn't come down to, oh, auto mod or this or that. It turns out this is a power fantasy game, and if you've got powerful stuff and you know how to play the game, because you'll notice there is a lot of movement involved here. There is a lot of target selection and attack style choice being considered. It may not look like it. If you're familiar with Warframe, you may not realize just how many skill checks are involved. But they're definitely present. Knowing what you can use and when, and how it benefits you, is definitely part of this. Like, I know there is a turret up there, which would actually be a lot of trouble, so I'm just not going to get involved in that for a moment. I keep moving, which reduces the accuracy of the one that's behind me, shooting me with a shotgun. I think he's above me. Oh, there he is. Ah, there's a bombard. Yeah. Alright, good. This one's gone off the turret because he realised he couldn't hit me for too long. Gonna kill him before he gets into the turret. Prevent that from going wrong. Hello, Misery. Where are you gonna spawn? There you are. I'm going to kill you with a blast magnetic corrosive laser beam that is not properly modded. Can you kindly not get close to me with that stab stick? That will hurt. I wish I had cold procs. Need to get rid of the others. They are being threatening. That one hit. Not great. You need to lose your overguard so I can kill you. Thank you. Alright. Misery. Time to put you out of yours. That did a lot of damage actually in a short amount of time. Spore laser strong. There we go. Got him. Let's just get another one of those. Scoop everyone up. Thank you very much. And Blappening 5000. Porthin saying, there's a reason a lot of people bitched about the Wukong clone and AoE nerf. They could no longer play the game with brains off, actually had to engage these skill checks. I mean, kinda? I suppose, yeah, for the Wu clone nerf especially, yeah. The Wu clone would no longer just completely solo the mission. Completely. I hear that. Get rid of him. There we go. Deal with the resistances. You bypass their resistances. Whether that means, well, where's those shots coming from? Whether that means using mercy kills, or armor strips, or evasion. You figure out how you counter them, and then you counter them, yeah. Enough time for 2 acolytes. Again, one of the harder Steel Path missions you can access. And it didn't account for the fact that there are upgrades added since auto mod. So the galvanized mods and the arcanes. If I'd manually put those in over the spots where I put the basic versions, I can guarantee you this would have been even faster. Why is Magnetic the best progenitor? It may well be because Magnetic is now going to have bonus damage to Overguard, is what Dee suggested, on top of all the other benefits that exist with it, and it's going to be even more powerful at killing Corpus. So Magnetic is getting just better, including an all-faction Overguard Demolisher. But yeah, why do I have 4 inbox messages? Oh good god, what even? Thank you for the 30-day credit booster, Miralabe, and the 30-day affinity booster, and the 30-day resource drop chance booster. Oh my god. And the 30-day resource booster. Evidently my boosters had run out and Miralabe took offense at that. Thank you, Miralabe, appreciate it. Much appreciated. So, yeah, this was auto-install on everything. Now let's look here how we could just, with almost no thought, improve this. It's using split chamber, so galvanized chamber it is. There we are. Brilliant. That's already a huge increase right there. No mod on this one. Excellent. Deadhead. Boom. Huge increase in output. Zagara's Gift. Empty arcane slots. So we got Pax Charge. Now it's a no reload, it's a recharge. Secondary Merciless. Excellent. We're now blapping everything. It's using my Riven. Smart enough to do that. Galvanized Diffusion. Excellent. Let's get that in here. Hornet Strike is using a low ranked one. Let's upgrade that one because it's got the capacity for it. Honestly, not sure why I did that. Yeah, no Arcane some Auto mod, absolutely. But the rest of this, Auger Pact, bad choice, but it had pure damage, multi-shot on fire rate, and then radiation. It's not noticed the crit potential of this weapon, I notice. It has missed out on the crit potential here. So that is a big flaw. No crits on that. I don't think it had that on this either. Nope. It's gone for damage, multi-shot elements. It's not gone for crits. So that is the biggest flaw I'm seeing here. How about here? Prime Reach on a glaive? Please no. That's terrible. But glaives are weird. On a normal melee, that'd be great. And then again, we've got elements, damage, and attack speed. So Automod doesn't understand crits. That's a big thing we could take from that. Automod doesn't understand crits. Which also then goes to explain why we did so well with Zagara's Gift there, because he already gives crits. Yeah. There you are. And even that was enough. So I was modded wrong. I was objectively modded wrong there. I did not use crits on weapons that can use them. I put range on a glaive. What ended up on my Eurali? Vitality and Primal Redirection and Primed Vigor and Boreal's Hatred and Augur Record. Oh my god. I didn't realise why we were at quite such high numbers. Now it's making sense to me. Oh dear god, that was excessive. Yeah, this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. This is terrible. This bit is incorrect. So I have an absolutely incorrect full tank Eurali. I have no crits on all of my weapons, despite being crit available. It has just gone for the highest element it can, alongside multi-shot, pure damage, and fire rate. And yet, it still was enough to make its way, haltingly, but make its way through a Steel Path mission, including taking out 2 Acolytes. I want you to tell me, honestly, I want you to tell me that that was bad as an overall approach. It was wrong, absolutely. But was it bad? It completed the mission. Got all the way through, no deaths at any point whatsoever. The only time we used the operator was when someone went, how about operator only? And it proved that could work too. Entirely independently. It comes down to just having the mods and then understanding how to pilot the frame you have. I understood how to use Merlina throughout that. I understood the benefit of sea snares for those temporary moments of increased damage and restricting some enemies, or using Riptide to group up a whole bunch so I could focus on just the big guys that were not affected by it. I understood on the aiming of headshots and how to navigate using Merlina. I understood on picking the fight to be able to separate the enemies and avoiding the rapid fire turret, the rampart, that's what it's called. Really, the rest of that is just understanding, and if you properly mod your items, you don't even need that understanding. As I've demonstrated with Labos, I could just kind of walk into a mission and just shoot everything dead. So you can laugh at it, but it works. Because Warframe's a casual game. Anyway, that is where we're going to have to wrap up. We've had the giveaway open for longer than intended, so let's close that now and let's see who the winner is. If you didn't grab a ticket by now, you were never meant to have one. So let's see. The winner today of the Platinum giveaway is Crowned Ladybug. Crowned Ladybug, congratulations, you are the winner today. I'll be contacting you shortly after stream. Get a hold of your Warframe username, platform, and cross-save status. We'll get that Platinum on over to you there, Ladybug. Congratulations on that. I hope you spend it well. And to everyone else, I do hope you have enjoyed today's stream. It has been a little bit of a weird one. I don't know how much chill I have had, but it's been a better one. It's been a good one. Ubru tea with a hydrate. Cheers. Oh. Cheers indeed. You're late? Yeah, you are absolutely late morning. You are. It's definitely not morning right now. We are just about to raid on over to another part of the Warframe community, but before I do send you over there, thank you very much everyone for joining in. It has been another wonderful stream. I hope you've learned some bits and pieces we go through. Warframe's far from a perfect game, very far from a perfect game, but it is still a good game, and so long as you know what you're playing with and how you're playing with it, I think you can enjoy various bits of it. So let's see, who are we going to raid into today? You know what? I don't actually know. I am going to skip any stream with the tag furry because I'll be quite honest, that is not what I'm looking for in a stream. That is not what I'm focused on at all. So you and you can go away. Let's see. I don't actually recognize much of anyone who's live at the moment either. I'll be quite honest with you. Unless there's someone further down the list I should recognize. I do not recognize a lot of this. I do see we've got someone followed that we've been to before now. Let me have a quick check, make sure they're not about to wrap up their stream. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, that looks good enough. We're going to raid over here. Slightly on the smaller side of things, but that's all same here. Raid started. There we are. We're heading on over to Sliverito. I'm sure you'll be in a very good hand chat. Be on your absolute best behaviour and have a wonderful start to your week. I'll see you in the next one. I'll be live again on Wednesday. But in the meantime, farewell, Tenno.